Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
What's happening, everybody? Hang on, forgot to plug my microphone in. It's kind of a last second thing here. I don't typically do these. Come on, man, what the fuck? All right, sorry about that. Let me just switch my audio to the correct thing here. There we go. That should be a little better. What's happening, everybody? So I don't typically do these ambulance chasing type videos. I mean, it's just not the thing that I typically do. Hold on one sec here. Sorry, people are just getting back to me about jumping on. So I'm going to have a couple people jump on here. I'm not exactly sure who at the moment. I know Nick is going to jump on with me. I need to brighten things up a little bit there. But yeah, so I don't typically do these ambulance chasing things. But, for a guy like Ozzy, man, I just felt like I had to say a couple things, throw a couple personal anecdotes out there. We're at a stage. If you're a young cat and you're watching this, you're not going to relate as much. But if you're an old dog like me, I just turned 59 in March, and you kind of, you've been living with this artist all of your life. I was alive when the first Sabbath album came out, so I actually predate Black Sabbath by 2 years, which is hard to believe in some respects, because it feels like we've had Black Sabbath for 1,000 years. Hang on a sec here. Hey, dude.
Hey.
What's happening? I was just kind of explaining that, for guys my age, this one hits kind of hard because, I was around even before the first Sabbath album came out. And so doesn't mean and I'm going to get into a little bit about like my history with Ozzy and with Sabbath a little bit, but it doesn't mean I was a fan out of the cradle. But, I very much remember in the very early 70s going over to my next door neighbor's garage, because they were older boys than me. They were all, probably the oldest one's probably 70, like Ozzy's age now, or close anyways, maybe not quite, but they were like in the early 20s and late teens. And they would allow the little runty shit, me, kind of hang around, and they were always jamming killer tunes. And I don't specifically recall hearing Black Sabbath, but I'm sure they had to have been playing it, because they were playing shit like Queen and Jethro Tull, Aqualung, and Yes, Close to the Edge, and all that kind of stuff. And I just can't believe, and Zeppelin 4 and 2, I remember very distinctly those. These are my first memories of hard rock, or what we now refer to as proto metal. These were the bands, but I can't say I recall hearing Black Sabbath in the very early 70s, but I do remember moving to Houston, Texas, and hearing Sabbath the very first time in 1976. I'd already discovered Kiss at this point in time. I'd already discovered, I was well on my way to discovering Rush and Triumph and, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. So these were like the quintessential bands, but I very much remember there was a kid in the neighborhood down there. He didn't live with his dad, but his dad and his stepmom had to place two houses over from us in a cul-de-sac. And he's the first guy I heard fucking Deep Purple's Sweet Child in Time, or Child in Time, not Sweet Child. I almost went with Sweet Child. Yeah, almost really fucked that up terribly. Yeah, what a nightmare that was. That was almost a train wreck in and of itself.
You almost ruined the song.
Yeah, I almost did. But Child in Time and Space Truckin', and that Made in Japan album, man, was quintessential for sending me on my road to hear about to get into hard rock and metal and those type of bands. And the first song I heard by Sabbath that I recall was Iron Man. And so that would have been, this was 1976. So Iron Man was only 4 years old at that point in time, roughly, right?
Yeah.
Because that was on Paranoid, right?
Yeah. Well.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Paranoid was 71 or 72. I can't remember. 72, I think. Or was it? No, maybe it would have been 70. Was that 70?
Did it come out the same year? Are you getting an echo?
What's that?
Are you getting an echo?
No.
I'm getting an echo. That's weird.
Hold on a minute. Let me make sure. Oh, now?
Hello.
Now?
Hello? Yeah, I'm getting
better.
An echo. No, first time I ever really had an echo on here. I don't know.
That's weird. Is anybody hearing an echo out there? Let me know if you are. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hear it on my end. You want to go out and come back in?
Yeah, let me try to come in and come back in. Yeah.
All right. Let me see here. Shit. I'm not sure which one I'm on here. Oh, crap. What happened here? Fuck. All right, let's see. How about now?
Still good, man. That's
well,
weird.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Do I have this up? I don't have it up anywhere.
I don't have it up either. I don't know.
Hang on. Let me see if... Wait, hold on. That's weird. Yeah, I don't have it up anywhere.
Yeah, no. Oh, all right. No, we're good now. No echo. Are you still there, Jeff? Did you just leave me alone on your stream? Uh-oh. All right.
How about now?
No, when you were out, I did not hear my echo.
But how about now?
I hear my echo.
What the fuck is doing that, man?
I don't know.
That's really weird.
Well, you just lost sound completely. No, I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. I can't hear you.
How about now?
Wait.
How about now? Now?
Yes.
Any echo?
And I can hear my echo.
What in the fuck? All right, stay there in 1 minute because I'm seeing one.
Okay.
I'm seeing one weird thing here that I don't normally see. I might dip out again, but just hang on a minute, all right?
Okay.
How about now?
Hello.
Now?
I hear it.
What the fuck, dude? That's bizarre.
I know.
Wait a minute. Talk a minute.
Hello. How's it going?
Let me go over here to audio and make sure I don't. How about now?
Hello.
How about now?
There we go. It's just me.
I guess I hit the echo cancellation was on, which I just found out something here. The other night when we did the stream, the Hangout stream afterwards, I turned the echo cancellation off because I was playing guitar. And if you have the echo, so it doesn't change it over, which is bizarre. All right, sorry about that, guys. We got it worked out. That was bizarre, but sorry, man. So I figured something out there. I got to make sure I turn it back on when I ever come in for a new stream, which is you'd think it would end with the old stream. That's very odd.
You'd think, but yeah, you were talking about
So
Paranoid,
I remember
the first album came out the same year in 1970.
They did 1970. Okay, so the album is 6 years old at that point in time, which back then 6 years was a long time between albums. Like for that song Iron Man to still be being played regularly on AM and F. This was AM radio back then, not FM. Okay, because FM was actually like AM was where the cool shit was at. That was like you could hear Inagata Devita, the 20-minute, the 18-minute version. You could, not that anybody really needed to hear that for 18 minutes, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I remember that very pointedly, being like, dude, what is this? Because Iron Man was like otherworldly sounding, man. I mean, as heavy as Deep Purple was, as heavy as things like Emerson, Lake and Palmer were, or with no guitars, or Atomic Rooster, or fucking King Crimson, like nothing was like Black Sabbath, and nobody sounded like Ozzy, man. Like just nobody sounded like Ozzy, and nobody ever did sound like Ozzy, really. I mean, that's the point. But so the reason we're here, obviously, is to talk about the fact that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. And when I saw it on Craig. I slept into about 11:30 today because I've been having a lot of rough health stuff lately, and I actually crashed pretty early at like 2:30. For me, that's early. And I woke up and I jumped on Instagram just to see what was happening. And then Craig LoCicero's page said that Ozzy has left the building. And I know Craig's not one to be joking around about shit like that. I'm like, what? So right away I checked the internet to make sure there wasn't, it wasn't one of those Abe Vigoda things, Yep. Abe Vigoda was dying for at least 20 years before he actually really died. If anybody doesn't know who Abe Vigoda is, Barney Miller fish, anyway. And dude, I gotta say, man, it was like I just kind of laid there going, what? Like for real? Like how? Because like a lot of people, I did not rent the Back to the Beginning thing 2 weeks ago. That is 2 weeks and 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That Ozzy was on a stage in Birmingham at the Aston Villa playing in front of 70,000 people or whatever the hell it was. And there were millions watching.
6 million, roughly.
6 million. And
that's insane.
When I got up that day, I knew that thing was happening, and I knew it was happening in the later part of the afternoon because there was a 2-hour delay, so it didn't get started till 2 or 3. And I thought about renting it, and I'm like, I don't want to be chained to the laptop all day. Well, I ended up being chained to the laptop pretty much all day anyways, because I had to say, I ended up catching a stream about 2 hours in that, initially it was just people were dropping videos of like sections of it, and the first thing I saw was Mastodon, and it was pretty killer. And I'm like, oh man, that was, doing Supernaut. I'm like, fuck, that was pretty rad, and then I can't remember, it might have been Alice in Chains next. I can't remember whatever the order was that people started dropping. Then I found an actual live stream that somebody was dropping weird. It was weird. They were dropping like porn girl pictures in between during the video to confuse the bots or however they figure that shit out. And I ended up watching a good portion of the whole thing all day long. And I gotta say, man, it was kind of emotional, man. It was, especially when Ozzy came out, obviously. Yeah. That was fucking intense. But all day long, just watching the love that all of us as metal fans felt for that guy and for those guys.
Yep.
Because it was kind of more of an Ozzy send-off than it was a Sabbath send-off in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, both, you had the solo set and the Black Sabbath set, and I mean, they weren't playing the Dio stuff. I mean, this was
right.
The OG Sabbath.
Right.
So,
and I mean, Sharon was behind a lot of all of this, and probably got a lot of the financing, and got a lot of the, pull a lot of the people in to do this stuff. And I'll check comments in a minute here if you guys give me a minute here. But I gotta say, I was kind of blown away by that show.
Not many bands get a chance to go out like that.
No.
Like, I mean, you think about like how many bands have just like crashed and burned and, fucking, behind the scenes shit, breaking up, reforming, breaking up again, drama. Not many bands get to go like, what, let's get it together for one last hurrah. And I mean the biggest hurrah.
Right.
Epic levels of hurrah.
Yeah, and I think the first thing I thought about when I thought, other than fuck, man, he was way sicker than we knew, clearly.
I think he was battling Parkinson's for much longer than.
Oh yeah, well, if you think about it, Ozzy's kind of been out of the public eye for the better part of about 4 years, and really, as far as touring, it's been far longer than that, I believe. Right? Like it's been about 6 years. He'd done a couple one-off sort of
Yep.
things, but he hadn't done a full-on tour in a long, long time, and which I want to talk a little bit about that because oddly enough, and kind of I should hang my head in shame, but I never got to see Sabbath. I know it's kind of fucking bizarre.
Nice little Sabbath.
I know, it's bizarre. I don't really know why. I almost saw them with Dio back in 1984, 80. No, that was that Gillen? It might have been Gillen actually that I almost went to see with them with Born Again, but I ended up not going. I can't remember exactly what the story was there, but the only time I came close was when Sabbath did that big tour for 13. And I wanted to take my oldest kid, who was a big Sabbath nut, and she didn't want to go. She had just turned 21, so this is 8 years ago, whenever that was. So what was that, 16 when they last toured, or 15 maybe?
Fuck, I don't. Hold on, when did that even come out?
I think it might have been. Well, that album came out in 13, I believe, but
13,
they did some touring after that.
Man, because I missed that tour because I saw them twice at Ozzfest.
Okay, yeah. See, I never went to any Ozzfest because Ozzfest was a little too lowbrow for me. Sorry, bro.
Lowbrow? Oh, shut up.
Wow, dude,
they not trying to be pretentious,
bro. They had bands like fucking $5 or $3 bill y'all band on there, man. I ain't going to see that.
That was not that year. I think it was 2000 was the first.
They did. They had Korn and a lot of new metal bands at one point.
They did.
I know they did. They did the one year that Sharon turned their fucking power off for the Maiden guys. But no, I just never had a big interest in going to Ozzfest. I don't know why. It just didn't really like kind of blow my socks off. But long story short, I just want to check something here because I did invite a couple.
That was the Slayer reunion too.
Yeah, hang on. Let me do one thing. Just give me 1 minute here. We're gonna invite Eric on, and I did ask Rick and Logan. So maybe they'll show up, but yeah, I never caught Sabbath. However, I did see Ozzy twice, both on the same tour, oddly, which is kind of weird. I saw Ozzy on the Ultimate Sin twice in '86 with Jake, but I remember very well being at school. Like I remember, you got to remember again, me being an old fucker, that when Ozzy came out with Blizzard of Oz, that was '81, I believe, right?
Yep, I think that's right.
Yeah,
either that or 80.
80 or 81, but I'm pretty sure it was 81. I don't know why.
I think it is 81.
Because Diary was 82 for sure. Yeah, it was 81. I want to say it was like January of 81 maybe or something. Maybe that's wrong.
Maybe it was 80.
Was it 80?
Hold on, let me double check.
Can't believe we should know our shit here, but that's that's my freshman year in high school, 1980 or 81. I'm a sophomore.
Yep, no, September 12th, 1980.
Okay, so it was the end of. Okay, so it was my sophomore year because
March 27th, 81 in the U.S. though.
Okay, but no, I remember now. It was in 80, but it was in late in 80, and I would have already starting my freshman year or my sophomore year. So, and I remember, man, dude, when that album came out, just the guitar histrionics of Randy Rhoads were like, everyone that was a young teenage kid like me that was playing guitar was like, oh my God, who is, between him and Eddie.
Yep.
Eddie comes out 2 years before that with EVH1, and you're just like, wow, what the fuck? It's just mind blowing the kind of stuff that was happening right as I was a young man getting out of middle school and going into high school. And I'll never forget, we would go, we'd go to the skating rink in our freshman and sophomore year because we weren't driving yet. We had to get the parents to drop us off. And everywhere we went, man, you'd hear Crazy Train or you'd hear Mr. Crowley, and the funny part of that is that nobody back then knew who the fuck Mr. Crowley was, or very few people knew. Certainly, adults had no idea who the hell Mr. Crowley was.
Jimmy Page knew.
Well, Jimmy Page probably knew. That's right. But and so and then of course Diary came out, and I joined my first band called Storm in my sophomore year as a singer, and we did Flying High Again, and it was like that was my upper reaches of my vocal range, but I could actually do those notes back then. I couldn't now, but we were all fucking crazy Ozzy fans, and then Randy dies, and you went through that period of Speak of the Devil, and you had Brad Gillett step in. You actually had Joe Holmes in there for a short little while. And Bernie Tormé, I believe, was the first guy that came in from him. A guy from the UK came and played a couple of gigs. I believe that was his name, Bernie Tormé. I'm pretty sure. He played a couple shows. Then they had this Joe Holmes guy that was kind of lined up. And in fact, they were looking at guys like George Lynch. And, George Lynch almost had the gig. He was out traveling with the band, to shows while Gillis was doing it. Because Gillis was still committed to Night Ranger, and they were kind of getting big there. Hey, Marty, what's up, man? Let me know if you want the link. I'll send you the link. We're just going to talk about Oz for a little bit here. And so then Jakey comes in, and we get Bark at the Moon, and that really kind of, I think a lot of people probably thought, man, Ozzy's career's done. Without Randy, man, it's just not going to happen. And they get this other dude, this crazy long-haired shredder in Jakey Lee, and they have Bark at the Moon's a big success. And then I finally get to see Ozzy, and that was 1986. I saw him twice on the Ultimate Sin tour. The first tour was in May, I believe, of 86 at the Philly Spectrum, and a young fledgling band that nobody's probably ever heard of called Metallica actually opened the show, and they had just dropped Master of Puppets. And then I got to see that, and like idiots, we sat out in the parking lot, got drunk, and we didn't come in until quite a bit later. We came in and we caught the last 4 songs of the set because I knew about them, and I had just gotten Master of Puppets, but I wasn't like a big-time thrash guy yet in 86. I was kind of feeling my way through thrash at that point, and so I didn't really know a whole lot about Metallica. Now, looking back, I wish the fuck I would have gone in at the very beginning of the set and caught that whole set. I did see Metallica a few other times after that. And then the second time I saw them was I believe it was in September or August, I believe, of that year. And we went down to see them again, and this time Queensryche was opening for them, and they were out touring Rage for Order. So, that's the only times I saw Ozzy, though. I never went to an Ozfest after that. I never saw him with Zach. And I can't exactly say why. It's just, I guess when he was sort of hitting his heyday of, his kind of resurgence when Zach came into the band, with No More Tears and all that stuff. I'd had kids. I had little kids. I couldn't just dump them on my mom and say, "Oh, Mom, I'm going to see Ozzy. Watch the kids." It just didn't work very good back then. I was a big gap there in a lot of my concert going for a while there. But yeah, go ahead. Give me some of your anecdotes about Ozzy and your first experience with him. And again, I will say that, and I think this, Nick, and I think I admitted this, and this I'm very ashamed to admit publicly, but I think I admitted this late last year. I didn't even own the first 4 Ozzy albums until late last year. But hang on.
Your status confirmed. I'm out of here.
But hang on. I have a little bit of a reason. And the reason was mainly because back in those days, we all – hold on one sec here. We all had tapes, cassette tapes and stuff. And we all just traded tapes around. And I made copies of people's cassettes. I dubbed the cassette. So I had the cassettes. I just never owned like the physical CD or the album of it. And I don't remember what it was that made me go, what the fuck is wrong with me? I have No Rest for the Wicked, and I have the Ozzman Cometh, which has that Back to Earth track on it.
I love that song.
And I have Tribute, and I have Speak of the Devil. and I have Osmosis, and I think that's where I stopped. Oh, No More Tears, of course. I think that's where I stopped, but I never bought the first 4 Ozzy albums for some bizarre reason until late last year. And I don't remember what the fuck it was that made me go out and get them, but I remember I got them, and I'm like, what the hell was wrong with me? Why didn't I own all 4 of these on CD or on vinyl? Like, what is wrong with me, man? And all I did was listen to Ozzy for about 3 solid weeks, you know. So I rectified the situation.
I mean, somewhat. I don't know. We'll see how much forgiveness the Chad gives you. I wouldn't give him much. For me, you know, I've been thinking about this all day. Like, Ozzy's been a part of my musical upbringing since I can remember what music was, because my mom is an avid Black Sabbath fan and she loved Ozzy too. So,
right,
you know, I got to hear that stuff early on, because my mom would just, you know, play music in the car and I was goo goo and gaga. And then as I got older, I was able to, like, oh, I like this song. And it was also the age of, you know, the 80s where MTV, Ozzy was on that shit. Ozzy was on classic rock radio and he was on regular radio. Ozzy was fucking everywhere. So I was surrounded by Ozzy. And it wasn't until years later at Ozzfest 97 that I got to see him. And I think he was with Joe Holmes at that point. You know, he had a very short stint.
Yeah, he did have a short stint. Are you sure it was that late though? I don't think it was that late.
Yeah, he was a guitarist for that one.
97.
Yeah, Joe Holmes was on there, and then the other times I saw him, he was with Zach.
Holy shit, I didn't realize that.
He only had one, I think, recorded track, and I think it was on the Beavis and Butthead.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That was 96.
Okay, I didn't realize that. That was, like I said, that was kind of during the period of time that I was raising young kids. You know, they were all in school and middle school at that period of time. So I had soccer games to do and all that kind of shit like that. So
97 for me was, I think, my sophomore year, and I was getting heavy into all sorts of shit. I already had the classic rock upbringing. I knew who Ozzy was, but I was also getting Pantera, Machine Head, Fear Factory, Sepultura, Megadeth, Testament, and Ozzfest was this giant thing. And then finally getting to see Ozzy live, which he absolutely crushed. It was man, part of me was thinking this is, I literally just kind of watched the branches, the roots, and then this is the top here. This is the top of the food pyramid, all the way down, or maybe the base of it. I don't know. But yeah, it was just amazing seeing all that. I remember, when he announced his retirement and then came back.
Which retirement was that? Which one?
After No More Tears, the No More Tours thing. Yeah. Then they obviously, it happened again. And then hearing Perry Mason on the radio over and over again. I became kind of rehooked with that too. And yeah, Ozzy was so much fun live. He was so much fun
Eric,
live.
you gotta turn your session off. Turn your YouTube,
My what?
Turn your YouTube session off.
I just did. Can you still hear it?
No, not now. You're good.
We're good. But what's up, man? But for Black Sabbath, I mean, it was one of those bands I never thought I would see, because I just figured that there was still just enough bad blood. But in 2000 or 2001, it's one or the other, that was the first time they reunited and headlined Ozzfest, which absolutely blew me away. I mean, Ozzy forgot the word Siren Man. I could give a shit. He just went, come on, sing it. You all know the words.
Did you see that clips making the rounds again of Ozzy singing "Take Me Out to the Ballpark" and he's going, I mean, it's him. He doesn't know the fucking words. He's got no clue.
You mean he just did the oi oi thing? That works. They love that. They love that.
Yeah.
And I can, and then again in 2004, but I skipped the tour where they reunited in 2016 because it didn't feel right without Bill Ward.
Right.
I've always been a stickler on that. I think Bill Ward was consistently probably the most fucked over guy in the band.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, like there hasn't been a moment of my musical existence, I guess you could say, that hasn't been affected by Ozzy. He's always been there, and like I said, hearing this day, it felt surreal. Like it didn't feel like he could die. Like it was like he kind of become like he was an icon, like a legend. Like
there was a larger than lifeness about him because like I remember reading the stories about him biting the head off the bat, and I'm thinking that's no way, that's not.
Bit the head off the bird in the meeting to get him signed.
Or the shit with the snorting of ants with Motley Crue when they went out on tour with him, and then I'm like
pissing on the Alamo and drag.
Pissing on the Alamo and getting arrested for it, and I mean, it was just stuff like
when you start getting nicknames like Prince of Darkness, like you've kind of like surpassed, like there's a level of stardom you just like leapfrogged, and you become, I don't know, like this icon, this being that doesn't even seem real. Like
he had an otherness to him, right?
Yeah, and then that's the thing. Like in the process, like this was like processing Superman dying, but not being able to like write him back in.
Right. Yeah, and it really is like that in a way because, and I think mostly, well, the one thing I don't think I finished my thought about was that the immediate thing that struck me once I went, wait, what? Really? Like Ozzy? But I just watched him.
That too.
16 days. I had to actually go count the days. I was like, wait, that was how long? What? And then I looked, I'm like, that was fucking 16 days ago. He was up on that stage, and man, I'm so glad that guy got to have that last moment with his fans, got to know just how much he meant to so many of us. And that's just not just the people that were in that. There was millions of people in that stadium that day.
Yeah.
Millions. Because there were all of us that were watching, whether we were pirating streams or Sharon, you got enough of my money over the years. I'm just saying. But I mean, like, the amount of love and outpour and just seeing all the artists that were so stoked to be there and do that thing, man, and just be part of that whole thing. It was just, that's the thing I thought of immediately was, man, Oz, you brought us so much fucking good shit. And yeah, we all thought you were nuttier than a fucking fruitcake. And you were. And you were a bit on the crazy side for sure. But you were the consummate fucking front man. I don't think there's ever going to be a guy that was that guy. Yeah, his voice wasn't always great. In fact, a lot of the time it wasn't even that great. But I don't think there was ever a guy that was like, up there commanding an audience like Oz could when he was in his, even down to the end, he was still commanding them, man. Like when he was yelling, I can't hear you. I can't fucking hear you.
Let me see your cigarette lighters.
Yeah, it's just like, and I don't typically get I get a lot more teary-eyed these days than I used to, but oh boy, look at this. Oh man, good Lord. Look at this hat. Look at this hat.
Where did you find that hat?
Rick ran out and bought that hat.
Get a hat like this. Oh, but it looks good on you though.
I think Rick saw my invite to the stream a half an hour ago and ran to a Party City somewhere nearby and said, I gotta have one of those hats, eh? Yeah, we are, man. The bats are celebrating. Right on, man.
Oh.
What's up, Rick? Thanks for jumping on, dude. Yeah.
Fucking happened, man. For some darkness is
There's no more.
Hell pick hells for this one, man.
I'm not drinking. After Saturday night, I think we're.
This is what makes me drink on a Tuesday night, right here.
Yeah, you're right.
This thing,
Yeah.
this kind of news. So, but
Again, it like I said, it just doesn't. It doesn't feel.
It doesn't feel real. Yeah.
It's again. He was almost like too big today. Like we were. Like there was like weirdly enough that there was part of me. It was like, you know what, Ozzy's going to be around like when I'm gone, just because I don't know. Like
You guys forgot the bigger tragedy. Somehow Keith Richards is still around.
Yeah, Keith Richards is
outlived
still alive.
fuck.
Well, Keith Richards, cockroaches, and probably plutonium will still be alive.
Yeah,
At the end of
we
the
really
world.
do need to think about the world we're going to leave behind for Keith Richards.
He's got a title, you know. He's got all these names. He's like, I'm gonna fucking outlive them all.
Couple quick things here. Before we let Rick or one quick thing here before I let Rick and Eric chime in, because Eric, you're a young cat, so it'll be interesting to hear your kind of perspective on Ozzy and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's anybody out there that's alive, that's a metalhead, that would ever, 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 ever try to argue with you that Black Sabbath isn't the fucking archetype. They are the goats. They are the guys that started metal. There's nobody. You could argue that, Atomic Rooster and, Deep Purple. There were a lot of, bands that were kind of, Sir Lord Baltimore. There were a lot of bands that were kind of in that very early stages or formative years of heavy metal. But the gods of heavy metal will always be the OGs, will always be Black Sabbath. There's just nobody. You can't
They
make
mastered reality.
Yeah, I don't think there's an argument that could be made that by anyone legitimately that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like there's probably a couple people who would argue with you, but they would just be wrong because
They
They
would
would be
lose.
wrong.
you can't argue against actual
Because Jeff would
fact.
talk them to fucking death.
I would talk them.
I gotta drop a confession. When I
Uh-oh.
first read
Rick doesn't know who Ozzy is. Get out of here.
well, finally, you figured me out. You do it every time. Well, what happened was when I first read about this news, my first thought was not, "Oh man, Ozzy's gone." It was, "Poor Malcolm Jamal Warner, like fucking getting overshadowed."
Yeah.
Again, it's like, don't die right before a bigger celebrity does.
I didn't even finish kind of mourning that
I know it
one.
was an accident
Hey Ed, how are you, bud?
because you're talking about people we grew up with, right? Like
Yep.
fucking Cosby Show, man. Like, so
Yeah, and that was a kind of a shocker too, man. When I saw Malcolm Jamal
Freak
fucking
accident when he
die.
drowned in a riptide, I
That's
guess.
freaky as
it
fuck.
just happened, man. And it's fucking this Ozzy thing going on. I'm like, man, that sucks for him. It's,
Well, Eric, so you're a young dude. You're 30, right? 29, 30, right? In that range. And so what was your first exposure to Ozzy? I mean, Ozzy's been around all of your adult life and your childhood too. For me,
Far longer.
Oz crazily, Oz was only 16 years older than me. It sounds like it's not that much, but it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jersey Devil's right, man. What is this that stands before me? That's it right there, man. That's the moment. So.
yeah, exactly. That's when heavy metal began to exist. And this is kind of, I don't know, it's crazy to me. I think one of the biggest things that I've thought about today is just like the fact that those four guys were still alive and played a show like 2 weeks ago. The godfathers of so much of the music that like so much of this community that we're part of, and all the other metal fans in the world too. It's all based on that. Basically, that was the seed that was planted, and it's grown into a massive forest at this point. And the fact that they got to do that 2 weeks ago, and with those, you were talking about, Ozzy being up there and seeing all the fans and everything, just also playing a show with the three other guys that he was in a band with in 1970 when they put that album out. They didn't know what they were going to create with that. They were just, four dudes in a band trying to play rock and roll, right? But they just
but I mean, in some respects,
it's something different.
I mean, in some respects, it was also the fact that Tony clipped the tips of his fingers off and had to down tune the strings so that he could actually put the tension on them to play that created that deep, dark, because when they were the Earth band, when they were Earth, they were kind of a blues band. There's actually, I think the very first recordings of them are either just came out or are coming out. I think they're just coming out like this month or
Earth stuff.
next. Yeah, it's called there's 9 songs that the original manager of manager of Earth managed to somehow have, and they're not really all that good from what I've heard and read, but they're actually coming out. If you look it up, they're actually coming. You can find it on Rough Trade, the CD, and I probably will buy it just to have it. But I listened to a little bit of it. It's not that great, you know. But they were just kind of a boogie. They weren't a boogie blues band, but they were a blues band, like a British blues band, you know, kind of like Jethro Tull was. Kind of like
Makes
Jethro
sense.
Tull.
I mean, there's a lot of blues on that first album still.
Yeah.
Oh, tons.
And we know that Tony Iommi actually played with Jethro Tull before Sabbath took off. Remember, Eric? So,
well, yeah, because they were Earth, right? And then they kind of broke up, and then Tony Iommi joined Jethro Tull for like 3 weeks. They played one show, and basically, I've read that he basically credits Ian Anderson for like his career because he said he learned from them how to be kind of a professional band and like, you know, have regular practices and stuff like that, because they were just screwing around before that. And when they reformed as Black Sabbath, that he kind of had that like drive and motivation to just get out there and play shows and practice and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird watching him on that one show just playing like total blues song, but
that live
anyway.
Great Whistle Test.
I don't think it would have lasted. Like it was two like kind of alpha personalities, like him and Ian. I don't think would have lasted long. Just
it's weird to it's really weird to think about what would have happened if they had stuck together in one band. But you know, we got 2 amazing bands instead, so we probably got the better end of the deal.
We definitely did. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
What was your first memories of Ozzy, Eric? Being the young whippersnapper here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 30, but the first Sabbath album was 25 when I was born already. So, and I never had TV growing up. I still to this day haven't ever seen like any of the Osbourne's TV show or any of that stuff. I never had Headbangers Ball or anything like that. I should check out some of that stuff one of these days. I've seen little clips here and there, but that's about it.
All you need.
You missed the Osbourne's TV show, man.
I don't know if you're really missing much. I used to.
You also were watching the Anna Nicole Smith show. All right.
Christ. Okay,
But, I don't know what that is. Legit though.
Speaking of tragedies, but okay, I'll do the conversation. If you guys want tragedies, keep pulling them out, man. I'll fucking go with that.
I guess it would have been MTV up here, or not MTV, Much Music, right? Instead, I don't know if it even existed back then, but so basically, my experience with Ozzy is just mainly from the music and mainly Black Sabbath, and I had never really thought about it until today, actually. But like I got into the Beatles when my mom pulled out one of her Beatles greatest hits album when I was 4 years old, and I would say my favorite band was the Beatles for probably 8 or 9 years, but I never really listened to their albums or stuff like that. I had that greatest hits album kind of on my iPod, and I would listen to that. And then I got into all kinds of other stuff as a kid, you know, the pop of the day and whatnot, and then started getting into heavier stuff like Linkin Park and things like that, whatever. And then my buddy
Eric just ruined his cred right there.
Hey, I was 10 years old.
I went to an Ozfest. All right.
I know
man. I was actually gonna say I'm coming on to save your ass, Jeff, because they're gonna come for mine instead. So basically though, my buddy Liam, who's I'm still great friends with today, and he's in my band and whatnot, and he basically showed me Metallica and Black Sabbath at the same time when I was in grade 8 or 9. I would have been probably 13 years old. And I did really get into Metallica as well, but Sabbath was actually the first band that I can think of that I ever started listening to like full albums and like investigating and looking for more music, because it just instantly grabbed me. It was like it didn't sound like anything else I had ever really heard. It sounded old because it was, but it sounded dark and heavy and just, but you know, it's got everything that you could want from music, kind of, to an extent. It's mysterious, it's memorable, it's catchy, it's melodic, it's complex. I mean, all that, the early stuff with Ozzy is just like some of the best music that's ever been created, in my opinion. Like, or not even in my opinion, objectively, it's just amazing. And I don't know, they've kind of just been a total constant in my life since then, and like definitely one of my favorite bands. One of the ones, you know, that I listened to so much that I had to kind of take a break for a while, but you know, I still go back to them quite a bit. Um, and I will say I'm kind of a noob when it comes to solo Ozzy. I've heard the first two albums and that's it. So I need to
Wow,
definitely
you
hear
got a
more
long
of
way to
his
go
solo
then.
stuff.
You got a long way to go. I mean, I was talking
Yeah.
before you popped on. I don't know if you saw me talking, but you know, I'm probably the only dude on here that was alive when the first Sabbath album came out. Now, admittedly, I was only 4 years old, so I'm not gonna lie and go, "Oh yeah, I was a Sabbath fan right out of the womb." My parents were not metalheads; they were not metal people. They were Simon and Garfunkel, and my old man was a get
They
this.
were on the wagon train out west.
They were they
Watching
well.
tumbleweeds go. Wait. We got to get out there and settle some new land,
Ever
farm
hear
crops.
Donner's Pass?
Put this 4-year-old kid to work.
Ever hear Donner's Pass? I'm not sure that my parents are my parents. Anyways, I might have eaten them, but no. But it's interesting to have kind of been there. So in a weird way, like for me, it was never kind of about going back and discovering. But the truth of the matter is that I was never really a big Sabbath fan until I got Heaven and Hell in 1980. So I'd already I knew the Ozzy stuff, but I was like, they're okay. But then when I got Heaven and Hell, I was like, oh, wait a minute. You know, when that came out, I had to kind of retrack myself and retrace myself and go back to kind of re-listen to a lot of that stuff that I kind of heard on AM and FM radio at that point in time. You know what I mean? Because there was always Paranoid, you know, songs like Paranoid and freaking Iron Man and War Pigs. I'm trying to think. Fairies Wear Boots was on the radio back then, Nick. I'm talking the 70s.
We leave.
You know, and then you had some of the later stuff like you know, Sweet Leaf and NIB and stuff like that. Those were, I don't know that I'd call them necessarily hits, but in the 70s you could play 6 and 7 and 10-minute songs. There was no corporate radio that was saying, oh, they got to be in a format. We got to format it. And you heard the same 20 songs every hour. This you could actually play half of an album side. And that's when I kind of remember sort of falling into going back and going, okay, this is the stuff that I recall now of my youth. So, Rick, how about you? What was your
whatever fit on those 8 tracks at the time, man? You know.
Yeah, I had the 8 tracks back then. Sure.
You know, we all as much as we shit on 8 tracks, I'm sure those are gonna be fucking worse than fucking money if it is not already.
Wow, they'll be selling quick on eBay for big money. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm looking at the chat, man. Everybody's look. I know Sharon Stone's not as hot as she used to be, but oh wait, you're talking about Sharon Osbourne. Never mind.
Sharon Stone. Okay. Yeah.
That's Sharon. Okay.
Sharon
Never
Tate.
mind. Okay. All is forgiven.
Sharon Osbourne looks like she's had about 14 surgeries too many at this point in time.
We'll
I
talk
saw a
queen.
recent picture, and the only thing I could think of was the movie Brazil, where his mom's getting her face stretched out.
Yeah.
Going to be in medical books about what happens if you overdo the Ozempic and the Botox and every other fucking thing you could do to your body. It's like,
I was thinking more along the lines of that Christian Bale movie, The Mechanic, where he literally becomes so emaciated his bones are sticking. That's what she looks like. So, but I gotta say this about Sharon. I know a lot of people fucking hate Sharon, and I'm not the biggest fan because to a large extent, there's two sides to Sharon. There's the side that probably rescued him and saved his life in the late 70s and early 80s because he was definitely on a collision course with a very early grave, I'm pretty sure. And then there's the part of her that's kind of milked him to death and kept him out there when he probably wasn't well enough to be out there a bunch of years ago. And
She didn't tell him no when she should have told him no. Because I still believe Ozzy wanted to be out there.
I think so, yeah.
You know, that wasn't like, no, don't make me go on stage in front of all the adoring.
No, you're right. That was his life, man.
But
He lived for that, yeah.
at the same time, she could have been like, no, listen, it's okay to retire. What do you have left to prove?
Yeah, what do you have left to prove? Yeah.
Sit on the beach, have some margaritas.
He was being milked, man. He doesn't have the Gene and Paul thing where they milk themselves very, very well.
That's a good point. True.
God,
Rick, how about you? Where'd you come in on the Ozzy train?
Oh man, MTV. You know, it was. You know, I'm from a small town in Jersey, and I'm not. You know, when you're from the big city and you have access to all that shit, it was easier to get in and all that stuff. I relied on the tube, you know, and that was that high era of when those solo Ozzies were coming out, Van Halen and all that shit was like, man, all the, because Ozzy always had the fucking best guitarists, you know? It's like he had that knack of getting those guys, you know, to fit his sound, which I think was also a really good move because they didn't sound like Iommi. You know, it came in this whole other decade when these guys were like flashy in their all other kind of way, you know, which, you know, and I remember it's one of the reasons why I wanted to learn electric guitar, you know, which was, you know, pretty cool. You know, he had that sound for radio. He was honing it.
Well, you're right. If you really look at those first couple of Ozzy albums, very poppy, man. A lot of very pop-oriented song structures. Verse, chorus. There was a lot of flashy guitar, but they weren't, you know, they were kind of in the same vein, but better than say like, you know, the first Quiet Riot album, which was huge. And, you know, I mean, it had that same similar, a lot of flashy guitars, you know, it's heavy metal, but it's heavy metal for the radio in a lot of, and MTV, obviously. Yeah.
Pop song structure. Like
100%.
Yeah. As much as we all praise Eddie Van Halen, but the way him and Randy, there was this thing, man. It's just like, he's fucking better than
yeah, I mean, I don't think
he's only 21, you know.
If anybody looks up the greatest guitar players of all time, those two albums cemented Randy as a legend right out of the gate, man. I mean, he was doing stuff that a lot of other guitar players weren't doing. But I did say to Nick that him and Eddie were literally within 3 years of each other. They were doing stuff that nobody kind of dreamed of doing with the guitar much, you know, at that point.
Yeah, I just listened to those two albums today again. I honestly, I'm throwing in my metal card again here, but I had only heard each album once before all the way through. You know, I've heard the hits a whole bunch of times, but like, I mean, Mr. Crowley and like stuff like that, the guitar solo on that is still insane. Like, I mean, sure that you got sweep picking and stuff since then, but I mean, it's still crazy and it's still amazing. And songs like the title track off Diary of a Madman, it's just like so good.
I have a song that I wrote that I was super chuffed with, man. I'm like, this song is so cool. And I was searching for that chord. And Eric, you've heard me play a little bit. I can come up with some pretty cool chords sometimes, and yet I came up with this chord, and I'm like, that's the fucking money chord right there. And I'm playing it, and here, I don't know, 6 weeks later, Diary of a Madman comes on, like, on YouTube or whatever, and I hear that intro fucking weird augmented chord that he does, that descending chord, and I'm like, motherfucker, Randy invented that chord before I did. I didn't even know how to play that song. I figured that chord out.
But how young he was, too, man. He already he was accomplished.
Yeah, he was.
He was graduated college.
He was a beast. There's no doubt about that. And by the way, Marty brought up a good point. We should mention that, you know, as far as we know, all that money went to charity. I think it was $190 million, which is unbelievable. That's, you know, just stellar shit. None of those guys need it. None of those guys. And I believe all the bands, as far as I know, every band did it for free. There was no payment at all, except for that one band that she won't name or didn't name, but we think might be Megadeth. We're not sure, but I've heard that. That's the rumor I've heard, that it might have been
I don't
Megadeth.
know. I'd rather she had paid Megadeth than not taking on David Draymond. But that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. Yeah. That was pretty bad. But I don't know. Did everybody catch most of it throughout? There are bits and pieces of it.
I've only caught snippets, like mostly
Okay.
on Facebook feeds. But I got to see some of the Mastodon performance, some of the Lamb of God performance, of course, bit of Ozzy. The one Ghost doing, just Papa doing Bark of the Moon with fucking Nuno Betancourt and fucking, dude from Living Color. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, Vernon Reed. Yeah.
Vernon Reed. I was
And-
like, holy shit, dude.
Wait, was Jakey was playing on that too, right? Yeah.
No, Jake wasn't on there. I don't think he was on there. It was it was Nuno and you just said his name.
I thought Jake played on it, but he couldn't play the actual. No, maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't play on that one. He played on Ultimate Sin and there was one other. Now I'm forgetting which song it was. Shit. He played on 2 songs. I'm almost sure of it. But I thought he did play on Bark, but he couldn't play the leads.
Either way, it was a cool performance.
Yeah.
The drum jam for Supernaut especially. I mean, dude, it was awesome watching like Eloy up there too.
Children of the Grave by Lamb of God was killer.
That's one of my favorite Sabbath songs, period.
Oh yeah. And I thought Alice in Chains did a killer version of Fairies Wear Boots. That was awesome, man.
So there's still a lot I haven't seen.
Oh, there's some good stuff out there. So Jake he played Shot in the Dark. You're right, it was Shot in the Dark. They wanted him to play on Bark at the Moon, but he couldn't do the stretches because his hands and he's got some issues with.
Nuno crushed it.
Nuno was the rock star of the whole thing, man. That dude was unbelievable, man. But yeah, it's well worth searching some of those things out. And of course, the Ozzy set was a tearjerker, man. When Mama I'm Coming Home came on, I was like,
I can't even listen to that song. No.
Yeah, and I don't really love that song so much, but that particular, just hearing him try to get through it was tough, man. I mean, it's
a person
tough.
He don't care about the sunshine. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, he doesn't. That's right.
The thing about like the 80s is he didn't care about, like, he tried that line between like, over the top performance or whatever, and just there's a certain cheesiness to his stuff. I watched Bark at the Moon, and that was like 2 years before Teen Wolf.
Well, dude, that cover is ridiculous, man. I mean,
the
cover of Diary.
They did a good job.
The cover of Diary is silly as fuck too.
Yeah,
he looks like
Ultimate Sin is the dragon creature.
I love the Ultimate Sin.
Like
but it's cheese. It's like, dude, this is like Conan the Barbarian levels of cheese, but also something else. Like it's so aggressively 80s. That's the only way you can describe it. Like this album is
that's
80s.
What gravitated me to this video when I was getting into Ozzy. You know what I mean? And then I found King Diamond after that, and then that's another tier of shit. Like holy crap. When it comes to the theatrics, But Ozzy, man, like how much of it I was thinking, like how much of this is drugs, how much of this is just the Sharon push, a little bit of both.
He was a man of like many faces, because I mean I knew him, like in terms of like the MTV watching, like, oh my god, this dude's scary, he's intense, he's doing this with his mouth and his eyes are bugging out, so much cocaine. But then you get like the tender, more sincere moments. It's like, man, he seems almost relatable.
I think he was. I think from all accounts, everybody that's worked with him, other than Bob Daisley and Jake for a while, but even Jake really said he was so glad that he had this time to talk to Oz and just kind of, he understood it was business. But Jake and maybe Lee Kerslake, those are the two guys that probably, and Bob Daisley big time, because Bob Daisley helped write a lot of his hits, and they kind of fucked him for a very long time out of money, and that was not cool. But I don't really think that was Ozzy. I think that was more Sharon doing that, and we'll never know to this point. But It'd be interesting. I don't know if Bob Daisley's put a statement out. Anybody see on Blabbermouth if he said anything? I would imagine he. What's that?
Bob Daisley?
Yeah.
No, like the only thing, I mean, it's been an outpouring all over my Facebook feed. I've seen stuff from every member of Black Sabbath. Bill Ward's was probably the most touching. Scott Ian, Playboy even put up a post.
Did they really?
Yeah, they interviewed him multiple times and put up one of his quotes.
That's when you read the Playboy articles. That's when.
Yeah, I didn't read that article. I was like, boobs. Hey, Ozzy, boobs. But yeah, like, it just kind of showed how far he reached. Like, I think I said it in the video that'll go up tomorrow, which, I mean, it was just intended to be a metalhead unboxing, but it was a lot on my mind.
Here we go. Bob Daisley has shared his sadness regarding Ozzy's passing, acknowledging the inevitability of the day while expressing a sense of loss. He reflected on their close friendship, the significant musical partnership they formed during the early days of Ozzy's solo career, particularly with Blizzard of Oz. He also mentioned feeling a sense of injustice regarding not being acknowledged in certain events, such as the final concert or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He emphasized the importance of musical contributions of himself, Randy Rhoads, and Lee Kerslake. So there you go. I guess he actually did a video. So
what Jersey Devil says, like the members had issues. It was usually about money, some business shit. We've seen it with Kiss. Dave Lombardo always fucking is falling out with those guys. It's always some fucking business money shit.
Yeah, and it is a bit. It is a bit of a bummer in that he was not brought back, or not even invited to attend at the minimum of that. And his writing cannot be understated for those first two albums. I mean, it just cannot. Randy was huge. Jake was much bigger on the second two albums, but without Bob Daisley, I'm not sure that we're talking about Ozzy, the guy that he became thanks to those first two albums. So
I heard too that they, like, on the later reissues of the first two albums, they replaced the drum and bass parts with some other recordings with new guys to avoid paying Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley royalties and stuff.
Yeah, they brought in Rudy. Although they brought in Rudy and they brought in Tommy Aldridge, but they didn't actually play. They didn't actually play on the albums. I don't think that's a kind of an old wives' tale, but yeah. So I don't know, man. Like it's a sad day. There's a few. I feel
shitty because I feel like I'm a grim reaper with this shit because I call it out. I'm like, man, when I saw him in that chair and everything, I was like, this is it. Like it's what happened when Ronnie Dangerfield got his Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, but I could have.
That's my soul, Lemmy.
When Nick was first smoke break, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, but Lemmy looked fucking deathly ill because he was still out there on the road.
Deathly ill.
Yeah, he had cancer eating him up. But Parkinson's is a bit strange. You can kind of live with it for quite a long while, but I'm thinking he's had it for quite a long while, like maybe 6 to 10 years at this point. Yeah. And you look at you're not seeing a whole lot of Glenn Tipton around on this new tour. He hasn't been out that I've heard of. And once you get the problem with a lot with Parkinson's is by the time you start really showing marked symptoms, it's kind of like pancreatic cancer. You're already too far ahead.
Yeah.
And if you just got weird little things that you didn't really put off as, oh, this is really markedly different, this is a different me, you might put it off for a while, especially if you're a touring musician and you're running around the world. I did
bring up Teen Wolf earlier. Michael J. Fox, he's had this thing for a while, right? He got it quite young. You know what I mean? It's like it kind of, in a way, kind of shows you can still kind of live a bit of a life, even though it's not the quality. And some people get it way later in life. Some people get it a little, younger. It sucks all around, obviously. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's this thing about, you got to enjoy life, man. You got to make the best of it. You know, like
Yeah.
regardless of what comes to you. It's like, you know what I mean? And I talk to guys like Jeff, you know what I mean? Like you doing what you love, man, despite, you know, everything that's going around, you know, with you and everything. It's just like
Yeah.
a constant reminder. You know what I mean?
It's like, been rough. And I know because I'm having a lot of neurological things in the last 2 months that were not there. Well, they were there, but they were very much under my control. And lately I'm having some very, very scary neurological things that are not under my control. And
Nope.
No, you went silent. Did you mute?
Nope. Hitting buttons.
Yeah, just suddenly your sound just is gone, dude.
Your sound's gone.
how about now?
There we go.
All right.
Now he's back.
Yeah, I got to be careful. Sometimes that if I bump that connection for the external mic. Yeah, I spent
Dude.
10 hours in the ER on Thursday night, and they did head CTs, brain CTs, lung CTs, abdomen CTs, blood work at the yazoo, fucking, you know, and they just don't know. They don't know what's going on, and I just know things are not good. So, but yeah, this was a tough one. You know, there's only really 2 deaths thus far in my life that I've gone like, wow, this hurts. And Neil Peart, which we didn't really know about Neil until he was dead. We just got that announcement, and that was right deep in the heart of the pandemic, as I recall. Couldn't go out anywhere, couldn't do anything. I think it was 2020, right? Yeah, it was February 2020.
Was it 2020?
Right before the pandemic. February 5th, 2020, I believe.
Yeah, I
And,
remember.
you know, that one, I was deep in the middle of a very horrible drug withdrawal which is probably why I'm fucked up now. And I was sick, like beyond sick. Like I was deathly sick every day. And I couldn't process it until quite a while later, man. Like that one really didn't hit me until much later when I saw a picture of the last picture of Getty and Alex and Neil that they made public. And that hit me hard like that. Cause everybody knows, if you know, you know, but then Chris Cornell hit me really hard, man. Like about a week later, that one really hit me hard because that particular guy, I'd met him before and seen them very early in their career, and I just couldn't process the kind of pain he must have been in to take his own life. And I don't want to get into the whole, you know, all the speculation that he was murdered and all that stuff. Yeah, I know about it. But this one here, it doesn't feel as painful on a palpable level because, you know, Ozzy was not well. He was not a well man. Although, if you'd ask me that day, hey, I think Ozzy's going to be dead the next 2 weeks, I'd have been like, nah, not going to happen.
I was hoping that he was just going to get a chance to enjoy some retirement, sit back, get to watch his daughter, you know, her wedding and all that. Like, you know, just get to do some just normal stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping.
Something about the human will in the body. Like, I think that he was ready to go some time back, but getting this concert.
I was thinking that too, Marty. I was thinking that too, that I'm wondering if he could have come in contact with flu or like a bad flu at the show, or you would think that maybe he would have been vaccinated, and I don't want to hear any bullshit in the fucking comments about vax. Don't even start, okay? Please. But you would have thought he would have been, but maybe not with his neurological condition. I can't get it, so maybe that's, you know, and I've been very sick recently as a result, so maybe he caught something over there. It just seemed like he was so full of life, but who knows what they gave him. You know, he could have been on dopamine.
I think it wouldn't have mattered, man. I think he was ready to go some time back. And I think getting this last show, the legacy thing, it's something about I'm sure there's a name for this. You know, there's a phenomenon where it's like, you know, when you hear about an old couple, like the one dies, the other one passes right away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there's something about getting that over that certain hill where like your body's, you just let go. You just release.
Yeah.
You probably won't know until you hit a certain period in your life in your golden years where that's a thing. That's why everything you're saying, you know, whether it was vax or whatever, like it probably wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? I think this was that that point.
You have that one kind of last goal that you're trying to get to, right? And then
That's right.
once that's gone, or like even something like if you have some like for my grandma, for instance, passed away a few years ago, and like she really loved. She was living with my parents for the last few years, and she really liked their dog, and then the dog died, and like a month later, she
Yep.
was gone. That
Yep.
was
That
kind of
kind of
just it.
stuff
She
happens.
really went downhill right after that.
I'm sure there's a name for that. You know,
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
You see a lot though, like that sense of purpose, the drive, the thing, that keeps you going. And
Eric,
the more I think about it, like the loss. I mean, I definitely feel it. Like sad is definitely how I felt, but at the same time, like there's almost like this feeling we lost like the village elder, the one that passed on all the stories. And like, listen, the oral tradition will be carried by all of you to all the different tribes. Like that's the feeling.
like Bilbo Osbourne has passed on, kind of.
Bilbo Osbourne. No, that's your people because they're only like this tall.
Oh, here we go.
They have
Here we
hairy
go.
you
feet.
young guy is when
There
Master
we go.
Oogway from Kung Fu Panda. You know what I mean?
Hey Nick, I hate to break it to you, but I'm the third tallest. I'm the second tallest guy here.
Wow.
Because
That's
I
a
know
French
Rick's
for
short.
everything, right?
Because I know Rick is shorter than me, and I'm pretty sure Eric's shorter than me.
I'm tall in many other ways.
Yeah, we know, Rick. We know.
I was gonna say that doesn't happen very often.
You
Like
gotta describe my
in
only
line any place.
Just saying.
A couple quick notes there. Jersey, you're right. They did re-record them, and then they went back to the original masters. It was in 11. That's right.
Okay.
Because there was so much shit going on with the lawsuits that she wanted to wipe them off to not have to pay them. And then I think the clamor was so intense that she to go back to the originals. But and one other thing, just to mention, Capra Obscura. He had Parkinson's. He didn't have ALS. Now that is a form of movement disorder, but ALS is a little bit different in that it takes your lungs, it takes out everything. And the fact that Jason Becker's still alive is pretty fucking amazing. I mean, he's also had the benefit of having parents that I believe I think his father was like an engineer or some kind of like really like a mechanical engineer or a electronic engineer, and he developed a system. They're very careful. I don't think just anybody's allowed to walk in near him anymore. And and I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you, because I'm dealing with some neurological stuff, and Rick, this. And they're not entirely sure what this is, but it does seem to be some level of Parkinsonianism that's starting to set in. I don't think I would want to be alive as long as Jason Becker has pretty much a slave to a ventilator and somebody changing your.
You know what sucks is those are examples of people who have resources, right? And they have the help. Like Stephen Hawking, and whenever he was
Right.
alive, it's like they got this thing going on. And that's what it looks like when you have the money resource available. If they can't get over that hump, it'll prolong their life, sure. Not the best quality of life. I mean, you try to do the best with what you have at your facilities, but most people don't have those resources. Most people are not going to have access to, all those funds to be able to. This is why I think investing in research, and continuing to fight, with this, because this stuff's got to trickle down to be accessible for regular people.
Yeah, I remember Peter Still pretty vividly too. That was tough, but not on this level.
He was looking pretty rough in the end there, man. Like,
Well, actually, he had gotten healthy there towards the end, but I mean, early before that, he was pretty fucked up. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of sad, but it wasn't really something that was a big shock to me in a way. It was only a big shock in that I kind of was like, wow, he just was sitting on that stage in front of 70,000, 60,000 people doing his very best to belt out those songs. And it was tough, man. I mean, you could tell he didn't have a lot of lung power, in terms of like he didn't have that thing. And he was flat a lot, but that's what do you expect? He's 76 years old, man. There ain't very many guys, even these days. Even Bruce Dickinson's starting to sound a little rough around the edges at times, and Halford doesn't quite have the juice that he had even just like 6 years ago when I saw him. Well, that was actually almost 8 years ago now. But I mean, it's just yeah.
Getting on stage, man, day in, day out. It's just like when these guys announce like a new tour, and I'm looking at these cities, I'm like, and I consider their age. I'm like, fuck, man, like it's rough enough for a young guy, At least they can recover, but these older guys are hitting their 70s,
Yeah, that was definitely a legendary way to go out, man. I mean, you just to have that whole fucking stadium singing, War Pigs, or to have them singing Mama, I'm Coming Home, or Mr. Crowley or whatever, or Crazy when he was doing Crazy, and everybody was, you could just hear the whole place just on fire. And it's a rough deal, man. It's a rough deal.
Everybody can do it, this late in life, man. Like, remember when we went to go see Love, man? Johnny Eccles, man, like he was still doing his thing, man. Like after all that time, it's just the original band wasn't there, man. But like, how old he was in his 80s, right?
Huh?
Johnny Eccles, he was in his 80s, right?
No, Johnny Eccles is 76, same age. Or no, he's either 76 or 78. Yeah, that guy looked about as healthy as you can. He looked way healthier than me.
It's crazy, man, how that diverges. Like, I mean, living a quality life, it does show towards that, because
I think too, if you go back to Johnny, he was very young when he was a star. He was like when Love was a big thing. I think he was only 19, maybe 18 or 19, very young. And I don't think Arthur Lee died at 66 of myeloid, acute myeloid, whatever that, leukemia. And, sometimes it's just getting lucky, but Arthur was, he was known to do a fair amount of drugs and drinking. And so, yeah, the lifestyle probably did not help Oz. I don't think, it probably helped cut it short. But I'll be honest with you, the fact that he made it 76 years, kind of, to a degree, almost surprising in a way.
It's shocking, especially when you do take in consideration the lifestyle he's had. It's like, I mean, all those guys they were on the stuff back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Obviously being the front man, there's this, you're front and center, right? Obviously, and that takes a whole nother, a thing being in that spotlight, and just plus getting kicked out of the band, and then the added pressure and the mounting pressure of, which I think worked well for him to give him the direction that he took. And then he got replaced. You would just say arguably a better singer, right? Like from his previous band. When Dio took over.
Well, yeah, not arguably.
That's why I think he had to one up them with getting these great guitarists. At the same time, they kind of hedged, those bets, and commercially, his old stuff did better, than the Sabbath stuff. I mean, during the 80s. Because it was Rock Sabbath was a bit of a disjointed mess. You know what I mean?
They were.
I love those albums,
after Mob Rules, and then you got the weirdness of. Although I will say that I'm a firm believer in the Tony Martin albums. I think they're fucking awesome, and I want to love Born Again more, but I just hate the production on it. I know a lot of people talk about that. Yeah. I heard today. Tony did an interview with, of course, Eddie Trunk. Eddie Trunk. Oh God, I don't hate Eddie Trunk, but he's kind of a goober. It's all Eddie Trunk, but he's all right. But he did an interview with Tony, and he did ask about Born Again, and apparently they have the masters. They're gonna remix it and remaster it. So that it's kind of more like Forbidden, which I know you don't like Forbidden, but I got to tell you,
Forbidden before that one.
The reissue, the remaster of it, or the remix of it is way superior to me.
I don't think the mix is the issue with Forbidden. Like I've never had even.
I think there's some.
Yeah, there were a lot of things wrong.
Yeah, even Ernie C said like all he wanted to do is dry up the mix from all like the lush synth stuff. And I think the mix isn't the issue. The issue are the songs. The songs
No, but the
aren't good.
guitars aren't. No, the guitars are not good on that album, dude. They don't sound really good, and they pop way more on the remix. Way more. I don't know. Allegedly, Tony did it, but I don't think that's who did it. I think whoever does Tony's stuff, some guy named Jeff something, not Emmerich, but apparently they're going to remix it, remaster it, and reissue it with probably in a box set or something. And they're also going, but before that, Tony is trying to wrap up his third solo album, or is it his fourth? Third.
Your third.
Theoretically, it's his third, even though Seventh Star was supposed to be his first. Which I like that album a lot. I think that's a great fucking album. Oh, it's a good album, dude.
Oh.
You better go back and listen to it. Clean your fucking ears out. That is a good album, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a real good album.
It's really not.
It's really good album. It's heavy as fuck. It's super bluesy.
It's really, no.
I don't know if I would say it's heavy as fuck.
I think.
Oh my god.
I think that album is great.
The problem, Nick, you keep listening to it with not being high and you're sober while you're doing this, right? Like this is.
I mean, all right. Maybe the way to listen to that is do as much cocaine as Tony Iommi was doing.
If you can get it.
I'm telling you, you're wrong about that album, but
I'm not.
But then again, you like to listen. You have and you do own Limp Bizkit CDs. So I rest my fucking case.
Wait, hold on. Didn't you say you owned a Significant Other?
I don't think I own it anymore. I think I owned it.
No, but you bought it. No, but you
for
bought
a very,
it.
very short time. Very short time. Yeah. So.
It's all about the he said, she said bullshit,
That's like Jeff's favorite song. That's it right there.
What's that?
What?
I will say though, Ozzy, you won. Today I did order finally a copy of Ordinary Man. That was a hole.
Did you really?
I told myself I wasn't going to.
Ouch.
You had to pass for me to finally be like, all right.
Man, what was the last one? Patient number 9?
I think that's the name. I bought it. I mean, I own every Ozzy
There's
album.
a couple of songs on it that are kind of okay, but it's super overproduced. It's got that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who that dude is that did the production the last 2 albums, but it's like mega fucking, kitchen sink and all.
Well, they did a lot to his vocals too, and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, well, they probably had to.
I don't know. I still enjoyed some songs on it for sure. Which one was it? Yeah, Patient number 9.
Yeah, it's okay, but it ain't great. I kind of, like I said, I jumped off the Ozzy train at Osmosis, which it's an okay album. I don't love it. There's a couple good songs on it. For me,
an artist, right after they reach their peak, you're like, okay, this is post-peak era stuff. Do I still want to stick with this? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was a long time there. I didn't even pick up a lot of the Sabbath albums because I was like, that shit's garbage. But I kind of came around, and the only thing I don't own of Sabbath is the last one, 13. I've heard it, and it's all right. It's not great. It's not bad.
I like it. Again, I felt, as though, like, once again, screwed over Bill Ward. But I still like that album. It kind of recaptures. It's almost a flat out doom metal album.
Yeah,
pretty doomy. Yeah.
But I mean, Ordinary Man, I didn't necessarily hate. I like the song Ordinary Man, especially, and Under the Graveyard, I think is a really fucking good song.
Was that the Slash song?
Fuck, there's so many goddamn guest stars on that one.
Well, they kind of became that. They became vehicles to put all kind of other rock stars on,
I think Chad Smith did most of the drums on that, which, I mean, Chad Smith's an awesome drummer. Down
to Earth. I'm sorry, Down to Earth was the last one I got. And Down to Earth was just a lot of. Oh wait, no. Did I get that one? No, I didn't get that one.
Patient number 9.
No, I didn't get that one. No. Yeah, last one I got was Osmosis. So, but obviously, all the albums with Ozzy in Sabbath are even Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy aren't great, but they're not terrible.
They have 2 songs apiece that I like, and that's enough for me to like keep them.
Yeah.
Like Never Say Die has the title track, and Junior's Eyes, which Junior's Eyes I think is an awesome song, and Techno Ecstasy. I like was it Backstreet Kids, the opening track? Like that's just got a fun fucking bouncy
Oh yeah,
riff.
it's a great
Yeah.
song.
And Dirty Women. Dirty
Great
Women's
song.
a fucking sleazy fucking song.
Yeah,
I
it's a
love it.
killer track.
It's a 7.
I
You
like
Won't Change Me is-
Junior's Eyes is kind of weird too. I like that song on there.
That's on Never Say Die. I just listened to both of those today actually because I was like, when I heard the news, I was like, okay, I've listened to the first 6 Sabbath albums like 1,000 times each, so I'm gonna go back to the ones that I haven't heard that many times. And yeah, honestly, they're pretty good. They're a lot more diverse, kind of, and there's definitely some stuff on there that doesn't really work all that well. But I mean, they're like half good, half not so good. If you took the best tracks off of both of them, you'd have a pretty good album, I would say.
When you listen to Sabotage, it makes sense to the trajectory they were going. Like, Tony
Yeah,
wanted to do something different. He's like, dude, can't keep doing Volume 4, kind of shit over and over.
Well, I mean, I would have loved them doing Volume 4 over and over again. That's me though.
I
But
think it's happening now. You know, these stoner doom bands, like a lot of it's like Volume 4 fucking worship stuff.
well, that master. But I mean, Sabotage I think is a good album. The only song I don't like on is "Am I Going Insane?" Like skip that one all day long.
Oh, I love Sabotage, man. That's got some fucking bangers.
Dude, the writ is one of my favorite fucking Sabbath songs. Period.
Hell yeah. That song's
Symptom
evil.
of a Universe.
That was one of the few that Ozzy wrote the lyrics too, because most of the time it was Geezer writing the lyrics.
Or Geezer, yeah.
It was all about the legal fucking battles they were going through and how they got screwed over by management. And Ozzy's like, no, I want to take the helm on that. And
Hole in the Sky, Symptom of the Universe, man. Megalomania.
A lot of vitriol. A lot of fucking
Megalomania is killer, man.
Yep.
Yeah, look, they're the kings for a reason. And it's a bittersweet day, in particular if Ozzy was struggling, which he looked like he was. I mean, one of the toughest parts of watching Ozzy's set with both the bands was when he just wanted to get up and move, and he really couldn't. You could tell his body wasn't there, and just sad, man, just really sad. Ultimate Sin. I love the Ultimate Sin. Might even be my favorite album of his. Like, I know that's sacrilege, but I love a couple of tracks on there. Killer of Giants.
Such a banger.
What's that?
Diary is such a banger. I don't know.
Diary's killer too.
There's a lot of good albums. With Ozzy though, like the performance, like in terms of like doing the best they could to make it, like giving him the throne, raising him out, like that's like if he's not going to be able to stand and clap his hands and jump like we've seen him do so many times. That was probably the best thing. Like rightfully, a throne is how he should have gone out.
Yeah, he was. His nickname was the Prince of Darkness, but you could almost say he graduated to kingship. Man, he was the king of darkness because, the funny thing about Ozzy is that everybody kind of perceived him as this evil character, but he was kind of a goofy, almost kind of a goofy Mr. Magoo type figure in some ways. You know what I mean? Like
his interviews were priceless.
Yeah, like when he would just be mumbling and stumbling through the ears that he wasn't particularly sober, and he was kind of just a lovable kind of guy. And I mean, everybody that talked about him dealing with him particularly, just loved him. And I don't know if you guys saw, but there was I don't know who this guy is, had never heard of him before. This Youngblood guy that did Changes.
Yeah.
And did a killer job of it, I think. He gave Ozzy a necklace.
Yep, a cross.
Did you see that? And man, that was just very touching, man. You could tell Oz was just really like heartfelt touched by that, Yeah, Metal Legion. I'm sorry, dude. That's tough. I mean, Eric's in that in that spot. He never saw him live. Rick, did you ever see?
I never seen him live either, man.
Never saw him live, yeah. And I didn't see Sabbath live, which is fucking crazy, seeing as how I'm as ancient as the band.
Okay, well, I thought more ancient, but anyway.
Well, I am more ancient. I'm 2 years older than Sabbath as a band. But I did get to see Ozzy twice, oddly, on the same tour. I didn't get to see him with Randy because I was in 1980 when that album came out, the end of 80 into 81. I wasn't driving until 1982, and I remember very distinctly I missed Rush in 81 and 82 and 83. I didn't start driving. Oh, look at that. I didn't start
2 degrees.
being able to get out and drive until like when I got my own car in 84. And that's when I first started driving to Philadelphia, because I was living in Houston and we moved up to where I live I live about an hour and 20. Well, now it's more like an hour and 40 minutes outside of Philly. But so I couldn't really just go see big arena shows. It's just what you had back then without a driver's license. So I was just right on the cusp of not being old enough to catch the early part of and here's another thing. I saw Ronnie James Dio four times in the 80s, starting with Last in Line, Sacred Heart, and Lock Up the Wolves, I believe it was, with Craig Goldie. Saw him 4 different times, and yet I never saw Sabbath as Heaven and Hell or with Dio. I almost went to that show down in Philly where Rob Halford ended up singing for Sabbath because Dio refused to sing the Ozzy stuff, and there was some weirdo thing that went on. So Rob Halford came in and did that gig, and Testament was there, and shit, I can't remember who else was on that bill. I guess maybe it was Ozzy with Sabbath, but then they wanted to do the Heaven and Hell. I forget how that worked out, but didn't go to that. And yeah, man. So
I didn't even know that had happened until pretty recently. I just had like the Rob Halford singing for Black Sabbath stuff pop up on my YouTube recently. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I haven't
He did
seen it yet.
He did a killer job, dude. He sounds fucking epic on some of their songs. That's one of those shows where everybody has a couple shows where like, fuck, I wish I would have stayed for this, or I wish I would have done this or whatever. And I didn't. So
Did that
no, Wade, not
ring Brummies?
not 1992, Wade. It was later. There was a big four bill band that went out. If you look up Rob Halford, he sang for Priest. Priest was on that bill along with Testament, and I want to say it had something to do with Ronnie James Dio not wanting to sing some Ozzy songs, and there was it was.
Yeah, he did have some issue with that.
I can't. Well, no, I thought it was in Philadelphia, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was. I thought there was a couple shows that he did, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But it was that tour, whatever that tour was. So maybe they killed those songs out of the set list. I don't remember.
This is why Tony Martin was great. He's like, you know what? Just give me whatever. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. So Nick, did you see Ozzy? You saw him at Ozfest, right?
Yeah, I saw both Ozzy solo at Ozfest multiple times. Saw him once with Joe Holmes, and then the rest of the time with Zach Wilde, obviously.
Okay.
And Mike Borden on drums.
Mike Borden, yep.
Yeah. But I got to see Black Sabbath twice, and I think it was 2000 or 2001, and then 2004. And
was that Ozfest 2001? When did Ozfest end? Was it 12?
Ozfest, the last one I went to was 2005.
Oh wow, it went that late. Okay, I thought it was like 03 or something.
No, I went to that one too.
So
I went to.
You really
it was like an annual
Power
thing.
Man 5000. We know.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw Power Man 5000 there. Saw Static X there. Static X was fun. But I also saw like Killswitch Engage, fucking Mastodon. First time I ever saw Mastodon was Ozfest too. But yeah, like those Black Sabbath performances were awesome. Like they had a flaming cross with their logo, and it wasn't just like a projector thing.
Oh yeah, it was the real deal.
split and showed their logo. I was like, oh my fucking god! And this like the biggest sing-alongs I've ever fucking heard. Like everyone knew every fucking word. They played every song you would want to fucking hear, and it was pure magic.
Marty, I'm
Even
shocked.
again,
I'm shocked, Marty. You never got to see Kiss. Wow. I only saw him once, 1979. My very
I've
first
even seen
show.
Priest.
Huh?
I've seen Priest once, but yeah, I'm kind of
I've
surprised.
seen
by that
Priest
one too.
twice. Turbo and Firepower.
I think what
Oh,
waits
so that's
me,
2004.
there won't be another Ozzy. Like all these guys, like today, you got these new artists coming in. I don't think they got the kind of larger than life kind of thing going on. Like these
Yeah.
guys, man, who are being picked off a little.
I mean, the only guys I could put in that category now that are out there are the Metallica dudes because of, just their cachet.
Yep.
Maybe the Maiden guys. I think sort of kind of. I don't know that it'll be. I don't know of any bands except for maybe Metallica as far as metal that you could get. Well, maybe Maiden too because they're a giant concert draw, but I just can't think of very many metal bands at all that you could put out there in a 70,000 seat arena and sell out all their tickets in 2 hours or whatever it was, less than that probably, and have just that kind of a farewell type show for you. I just don't think there is that kind of band out there anymore. Not even. I was going to say not even.
I want to say it's partly the marketing too. Like if you say it's definitively the last show, that does it is going to boost sales. I think.
Yeah.
Too. But
yeah, but do you know how many times Ozzy and the Scorpions and Black Sabbath did Kiss did the final tour?
Yeah,
That's
Kiss
it.
and
I mean,
Slayer and yeah.
they've done it so many times. I think the thing that kind of made this one different was I believe that people knew inherently that Ozzy was unable to ever tour again. So there was no way we were going to see a Black Sabbath reunion part 8. And
Did you see I think it was a kickoff performance that Ozzy did for, I think it was a Rams game.
Buffalo Bills, yeah.
Yeah.
22.
Like, that was right there. Like, because I watched a bit of it just to see. And, like, that was enough for me right there. It's like, I think winding down, it's totally fine. Like, I've been saying, actually, since Ordinary Man, like, dude, if Ozzy didn't announce he was retiring and just done, and he's just going to relax the rest of his life, he's earned it. I have no issue with that. I'm not going to how dare you not give us more music? Like,
it's like the Kiss. It's like the Kiss thing. I mean, Paul Stanley's voice has been fucking toast for a lot of years.
They're just doing backing tracks anyway. They're just doing backing tracks.
Well, and he caught a lot of shit for that, and then they backed the backing tracks off, and then you could really hear about how
a lot of his legacy. It's like this is why people still go to see Guns N' Roses.
Oh my god! Like, yeah, I mean, Axl by far the worst vocal performance of the day, and there were some bad ones. Like, I know some people are a fan of this band. I thought Tobias on Bark at the Moon was god awful. I thought it was terrible.
I thought he was good.
Oh, it was fucking lame, dude. That guy is one of the flattest singers I've ever heard in my life. He was terrible.
He usually has like an entire choir backing him up on stage, but
I thought
he did a good job. He even said he kind of struggled as to how to approach that song because I read like an interview.
Yeah, I didn't think that was good. I thought Billy Corgan was fucking god awful.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, he was.
I've never liked him as a vocalist.
Didn't have high expectations.
I like some.
Same thing with Axl Rose. Axl Rose has always sucked.
What's that?
Same thing with Axl Rose. Axl Rose has always sucked.
I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. I saw Axl and Guns kind of at their apex. I saw him for Use Your Illusion, and he was fucking ferocious on stage. The problem was then he spent the next, umpteen years up his own ass, and he never really had a great voice, but he had a snarl back in the day that was good. I didn't think I thought he was absolutely. He sounded like Mickey Mouse out there.
He sounded like a fucking gremlin Dude, he's
Like
always selling shrimp.
generated video of him turning into Mickey Mouse.
And I thought the other guy that sucked came
They
up
keep the
earlier.
ginger hair.
What's that?
No, I think it was just a full Mickey head.
Oh my god.
Well, the other guy that sucked pretty bad, I thought
Who's
too,
doing
was fucking David Draymond. I thought he was
Yep.
terrible too.
Well, he came in like he came in on weird points. I know he kind of stepped on the solo.
Oh, and Sammy Hagar fucking blew ass too, man. He was terrible on Flying High Again. It's not so much that his voice sounded terrible. He just didn't know the song. He didn't know the lyrics.
You know, like
He didn't know the lyrics.
Steven Tyler, actually, I was kind of surprised. He sounded
Tyler
pretty
was
good.
killer. I thought he was killer, man. And I'm not the biggest Aerosmith dude. I like him, but I thought he was killer. I thought Lizzie Hale was fucking amazing. I thought Randy did a great job on Children of the Grave. I'm not a super big fan of Lamb of God overall, and they're all, but they did it killer. I thought Troy did great on Supernaut. Trying to think, I thought even Maynard did okay on the track they did. I thought Gojira was a little bit lame on their song. They picked a weird song. I think they did
Which
Under
one
the
did they do? I didn't catch
do
that.
Under the Sun or something like that.
Man, dude, that's got like some of the nastiest riffs. Like
It
that's
was
a
great.
heavy
The band was great, but Joe didn't seem comfortable singing that song.
He's got a limited range.
Yeah.
And then that gruff delivery probably doesn't translate as well to like a more.
But
melodic-
I will say him and Rob, who I'm not a big giant fan of Rob Flynn as a singer, but they did Territories the other night over in Greece. Did you see that? That fucking song ripped, man. That was fucking balls heavy. I guess they're doing some festival in Athens or something, and they did a cover of Sepultura's Territories. Woo, man, that thing was fucking.
I love that song.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so look, all in all, man, you know, I thought it was great. I will say one thing about Axl, though. While he didn't sound great, I thought the band sounded really good on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. That's not a song I thought anybody would choose.
Where's the tier in this? He's still better than Vince Neil, right?
Oh my God! Well,
bad. Where do we?
That's setting the bar awful low, bro. That's setting the bar real low. But so yeah, real quick, I think we'll wrap it here in a couple minutes. I know Nick, you're gonna do something maybe here with, or is John jumping on?
Tough work, yeah.
What time, John off?
Well, he's probably heading home now.
You want to check with him and see if he wants to jump on quick?
I don't know if he's back yet because he was probably going to set it up. But I was going to say, I mean, if you guys want to come back and join on my stream.
Well, I think we have a lot of your people over here because if you announced it, I got 46 watching. I don't think I've ever had 46 people watching ever. And I do recognize a lot of names, but some I don't. So those of you that came over from Nick's stream, I really appreciate it. You should subscribe to me if you're not. I try to do some cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some pressing health things that are really starting to kick my ass that are probably not gonna bode very well for me. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But to just pimp a few things, this guy below me here, the one hiding in that fashionable hat right there. That I swear he ran out and bought at Party City down the street before this stream.
Drinking that Moloko Mesto.
Out of business, man. You guys didn't go there. I went there and bought the shelves, man.
I thought you would.
I'm done.
That's a Rick thing to do, dude. I know it's a Rick thing to do. But we did part one of Swallow the Sun this past Saturday, which we did the albums Morning Never Came through Emerald Forest and the Blackbird. That was a lot of fun. That was very heavy, man. There was some really intense emotional parts there, and I don't make any apologies for how emotional I got. You can't handle that shit. So be it. I don't give a fuck. But we're going to do part two. We were going to do it all in one, and then we realized it was probably going to be like 24 hours long, so we decided not to do that.
Well, that's a lot to swallow.
That's a lot of me to swallow. That's true.
No, I did not say.
Oh, I see what you. I see what you.
Whoa! Hold the fuck on.
Hang on, let me get my ex-wife on the phone. Anyway, so there's a reason she's my ex. No, we are going to do part two this Saturday. It'll be Rick and I and Jake again, and we're going to wrap up Songs from the North 1, 2, 3 through the last album, Shining. Also, Nick and I are going to attempt, I believe, on the 9th or 16th of August. He'll have to let me know which, and I'm waiting for my special guest to get back to me. Not that you're not special, but you're not very special, just saying.
I'm like special in a way, like wearing snowshoes and a helmet and a cape at the same time.
Right, that kind, like the dunce cap in the corner. But we're going to do one of those new metal bands, but it's not really a new metal band in my estimation. We're going to talk about the Deftones.
I was gonna say I might have another for you because
Maybe the first two albums. I think.
John's been listening to Deftones since I've been listening to Deftones.
No,
too.
we could probably do that. I'm hoping to have. Well, I'm not hoping. I just hope it'll work in his schedule. But Jerry Watunsky from Atheist, one of the two guitar
I'm gonna
players.
call it my own summer deep dive. What are you naming this?
I don't know what we're gonna call it yet. I haven't figured that out yet. But that's a good one. That's a good one there.
Didn't know this.
And we're gonna do.
I'm
Thanks,
far
Ryan.
away.
I appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you. That was awesome. I wish I could get Maddie to participate more often, but she's. It's Maddie's busy. She's young and busy.
She's
So.
gotta do YouTubing, man. Like I think she'd be really.
But it's always great having her on because she's awesome. I wish I could get my other daughter to come on, but there's some issues there. So, but yeah, we're gonna do that, and then I believe Logan is gonna be joining me to do the second episode of Three of an Imperfect Pair, and I can drop those albums. We're gonna be doing Temple of the Dog, Mad Season, and Sweet Oblivion from the Screaming Trees. So kind of an all Seattle sort of thing on that one, which is cool. And then, I'll get all these guys in. If I live long enough, I'll get all these
We
guys
talked
in.
about that season, right? When we did that Alice in Chains thing long ago. Were you on that, Nick? Right?
Oh yeah,
Probably.
I mean, God, it was so much gushing.
I know that album's come up. I'm sure that's
We brought it up multiple times.
But we're gonna talk about it in depth. We're gonna get into each track and song and all that stuff. Hey Evan, good to see you, buddy. We're gonna wrap up here in about 10 minutes at most. I want to keep this at 2 hours. But the other thing then is oh shit, completely lost track of my this guy over here, that guy, whatever. He's in the corner from me there. Eric and I are gonna get into some prog. We're gonna do some prog stuff, bro. And we're hoping to do a deep dive on Gentle Giant, probably towards the end of the month, we hope.
That's not an easy one, man. Holy
End
shit.
of August, that is, probably. I'm trying to think if there was other stuff that... Rick, did we talk about something? We talked about wanting to doing the trio thing with the Three of an Imperfect Pair, which we'll get you in on that at some point. But I think Nick, was there something else I talked to you about?
No, I think it was just the Deftones thing,
Right.
which I mean, yeah,
Great band.
I'm down for that.
Great band. I really do like that band. That's the one band from that era that I really get into, and they're about to release a new album. I think in like 3 weeks, something like that. Can you do that?
Yeah, the first track is awesome.
Yeah,
I
the
dig
first
it.
track was cool.
Yeah.
So I happened to watch a full hour interview with those guys, which they don't typically do, and I didn't realize that they're playing over in the UK, or they were recently, and I didn't know that Steph and Frank aren't in the touring band anymore. Steph doesn't like to fly, I guess. Yeah, I know there's other bands that I have and things that are on my list. Oh, I know the other thing. Fuck it. Of course. I know what it was. It was Dennis and I are doing Forgotten Metal Gems. We were going to do that this Saturday, but I really needed to get Rick and Jake locked in for the Swallow the Sun Part 2. So I believe we're going to do that one weeknight, Dennis and I, because he has a little more freer schedule during the weeknights. And we'll be talking about the 80s and 90s albums of Lizzie Borden and the 80s and 90s albums of the Japanese band Anthem, which I don't know very well. So I need to get busy on that shit, get cracking. I know Lizzie quite a bit.
In a tightrope for that one.
What's that?
Gonna be in a tightrope for that one.
A tightrope
Yeah.
because of the anthem.
Ah.
Or,
You're not going to get it. Never mind.
You won't get it yet.
well, if I don't know the albums, I don't. Yeah, I probably wouldn't yet. Yeah, I haven't.
Got some homework to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot. Well, we're yeah. There's 7 albums, 7 freaking albums. Actually, Dennis says to me, "I didn't know they had this many albums out in the 80s and 90s." I'm like, "You want to stick with this, or do you want to switch?" I have the thumb made up. He's like, "Yeah, let's stick with it." So, oh well. But and let's see what else. Anything else? Rick, you got any?
We are spitting ideas for a 5-year anniversary
Oh, that's right.
Saturday slate kind of thing.
That's right.
And everybody's invited, and should be a fun time. So it just no particular topic is just kind of a cool way to say, hey, we fucking survived 5 years.
5 years doing this crazy
Nice.
shit.
You know, just to hang out. This crew.
In that interim, though, Rick, your channel and my channel have grown by about 3%, or yours by about 1%, mine
That's
by
a lot
about
for me,
3%.
man. Holy shit,
Huh?
that's a
Okay.
lot for me.
I was gonna say it's a lot.
I feel like zero effort on my channel.
Nick's channel has grown by like 480,000%.
Well,
No.
you guys gotta, take a big old steamy dump on fucking 6 Feet Under or Slaughter to Prevail or
That
5
probably
Finger
would've
Death
worked.
Punch or Sleep
Bands,
Token.
I know.
Wait a minute, is Slaughter to Prevail that band that Garza guy is in?
No, that's Suicide Silence.
Oh, Suicide Silence. Okay.
No, Slaughter to Prevail is the one with the Russian dude with the stupid fucking mask and the scarred face, and he likes to molest bears.
No. Has anybody
Wrestle bears.
speaking of that? Has anybody seen or heard of this fucking band President now?
Dude,
Oh my
I
god!
watched.
Heard of them.
First off, the mask is creepy. I don't
It's-
fucking like looking at it,
It's stupid. Okay.
and it's just heavier fucking Sleep Token.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Sleep Token.
It's like all super
Even
fucking
heavier than
autotune.
Sleep Token.
It's just a bunch of fucking programmed synthesizers with a bunch of drop tune chuggas, and
Yeah, there's really nothing.
it's
Doesn't
fucking
sound like
terrible,
a thing.
man.
I like the president
I-
of America back in the 90s. I don't know what happened to those guys.
Man, fun, weren't they?
Peaches, man, peaches.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
haven't. I might check out the 3rd single just to see how bad it is, but I checked out the first 2 songs, and
Ninjas in the video.
there's nothing there.
Well,
And again, that mask is.
Well,
Pretty
you know
much.
what's going on. They've got a big budget because they're advertising on YouTube in between they're throwing this video up. So of course I had to look, and here there was a live, and I use the word live very loosely. Live video of them playing some festival. They show them coming in from the back of a festival, and they show this guy out there, and I don't know, it's some guy named Charlie something or other from some UK band. I don't know the name of the band. I don't know anything about them. Bandit or something like, I don't know, whatever it's called. But man, dude, just AI tripe is what I call it. Sorry.
It's bargain basement, like it's stuff you can assemble in like a weekend. I think, nothing really distinct in terms of like melodies or riffs. It's just a lot
Industry
of open chord
plant.
chugging.
Yeah, it sure does.
The drums sound programmed. They're
Yep.
probably not.
All the synthesizers are programmed.
Oh, dude,
I don't think
heavily auto-tuned.
I don't think the guy was really playing live. It was a little hard to tell because his hand was kind of muted from me. I couldn't see it the whole time, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man? This shit's fucking."
Yeah.
You aren't really selling me on this, are you? I'm not googling it now. The guy looks like Tobias Forge, like with Reagan, with the mask. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was another Tobias Forge band, but I will say I saw some live, not live. I haven't gone out and seen it live, but I saw some pictures of Ghost's stage set. Holy fuck, man! They went.
Oh, dude, they're so much fun to watch live.
They went. Oh, I've seen them. I've seen them
Yeah.
3 times. I saw them open for Opeth and Mastodon a bunch of years ago. I saw them open for Iron Maiden in 2015.
Seeing them as the headliner.
But yeah,
a
man,
different
they're that stage show is pretty fucking epic. I gotta admit, a lot of fire.
Oh, dude, honestly, Tobias said I wanted to kind of bring back the old school metal
Yes.
stadium thing,
Yeah, the
back in
Kiss.
the Iron Maiden
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, the Iron Maiden.
Theatricality.
And he does a good job
I-
with it. Like, I mean, he's got backup singers, multiple keyboardists, multiple guitarists. Like, there's last time I saw him, there was probably, maybe 10 people on stage with him, and it was crazy. It was awesome. It was a lot of fucking fun.
I haven't. Did that new album come out yet?
Oh yeah, Scaletta, I've jammed the shit out of it. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Don't go into it thinking it's going to be like a heavy metal album. Go into it thinking like it's AOR fucking 80s pop with like some big metal riffs every now and
Yeah,
then.
it's kind of like Blue Oyster Cult during their worst era, like Revolution by Night or Club Ninja or something like that.
There's stuff in there that reminds me of like Tears for Fears.
Really?
Like the Cars.
Oh no.
They hit an 80s algorithm that I fucking love, that I grew up on. I was like, oh shit, this even won over John, who doesn't even like Ghost. It was like, dude, these songs are fucking catchy. God damn it.
Eric, you got anything coming up?
I gotta bounce because I gotta set up my stream. If you guys aren't doing anything,
I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I feel like talking a little bit more. You know me, I don't like talking very much. So
I'll throw you a link, Rick, and hit me up in the comments. And I don't know if I have a way to get a hold of you, Eric, but
I can get it.
Figure it out.
All right,
But yeah,
I know that guy. He knows you, so
okay, that'll work.
Sadly, that's
All right,
triangulate.
fucking Ozzy rules.
Ozzy.
All right, dude.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all right. Anything going on with you, Eric? Are you still trying to get there? Not quite.
I'm still procrastinating on my own channel, if that's what you're talking about. But
You guys talk for a minute. I'll be right back.
I've been meaning to do. I've got a few like video ideas, or kind of for some series that I should just get on. One of them is like heavy 70s stuff. So now that Ozzy is gone, and maybe I should just start on that. Maybe do 5 or 10 at a time of like just start at the top and kind of delve deeper and deeper into the heavy 70s stuff. I don't know how many people are into that
I was throwing darts,
community, but
right? And I proposed it to Jeff some time back, but he's been so busy with all this other stuff, plus personal life things. I'm like, dude, why don't we visit a year in the 70s? Just talk about like all our shit, like maybe 10 albums, and just talk about like fucking maybe like I'm talking about like 74 or something like that, like, which was a really good year. You know what I mean? Or like, that's when like the prog rock was switching over to like the AOR era. You know what I mean? Like everything was sort of transitioning into that, and because we were talking about Sabbath earlier, with Sabotage, and then when everything started transitioning to technical ecstasy, and you can kind of see where the change in sound was happening there. And I think that might be a cool one to get some people in for, well, I would say maybe some underappreciated stuff. Maybe some more well-known albums. I don't know if that's
What's that?
I don't know if just listening, but
What'd you say?
the proposing the idea of like maybe doing like a 70s thing. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was hitting on a year. I was thinking maybe 74.
Okay.
I remember
talk about that sometime back.
I think you did an Instagram post last year of like some of your favorite albums from '74, and there's like
that's a good year.
Yeah, I mean, once you start looking, you're like, oh shit, all these awesome albums came out in that single year.
Who's that? Are you talking about Rick or me?
Rick had one last year.
Okay.
I think.
It's weird. We did some of those year streams way back, like way back in 2020, 21, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
When we were doing more structured.
I don't know if we hit the 70s though, right? Like
no, I don't.
I think there was something about that era. I don't
think we did. I don't
80s, 90s, 70s doesn't get touched that often, unless we're talking about Sabbath or something.
I love a lot of the 70s music, and I probably have a lot of it, or a good bit of it, like more than even.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, there's a lot to pull from, and like, there's not a lot of opportunity to pull some of those. I mean, you're talking about Gentle Giant, right, with Eric, and that's one excuse to pull 70s stuff.
Yeah, right.
When you come, but
well, I mean,
not often.
Sabbath and Rush and all those,
Yeah.
the classic 70s bands, Blue Oyster Cult.
So-
I mean, we talk about them. I talk about them in some of the bands I pull out that are, you know, from that era. But it's not as typical because theoretically speaking, it wasn't yet metal at that point. It was really, I mean, there was a lot of proto metal bands, and then there was Sabbath.
Yep.
You know, there was bands
Yeah.
like Atomic Rooster and Sir Lord Baltimore and Captain Beyond, and
If you were alive at the time, you know, and you were kind of conscious of what's going on in the music scene, you were not cognizant of, oh, this is the origins of heavy metal, right?
well,
Like,
there was nothing called heavy metal back then. It really didn't become metal. Like all these derivations and genres really didn't start
Yeah.
to come into the fore until the very end of the 70s, very early 80s, with formatted radio, where you had AM. I was saying to Nick when we first got on, in the 70s, you had AM radio. It was FM was not what it is. Well, it's not anything now, but it was not what it became in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, where all these corporations, you had Comcast buy up all these radio stations, and they had a playlist, and you bought your way onto that playlist. I'll never forget, like in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, when stuff like Godsmack and early Disturbed and fucking the Load and Reload era of Metallica and the S&M Metallica and the Stain and all those bands, all you heard was the same fucking 30 songs every hour and a half to 2 hours. You heard the same songs over and over. If it wasn't, if it was a Metallica S&M track, it was maybe 3 different S&M tracks. And that's all you got. You just you got nothing. But in the 70s, man, you could hear Inagata Davida. You could hear Children of the Grave. You could hear Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Carnival 9, or you know what I mean? You could just, it's just so much different.
which was what was considered the heavy stuff at the time. Steppenwolf, right? Like,
Yeah,
that was the stuff.
Steppenwolf was heavy back then, though, man.
Yeah.
American Woman and Bachman Turner Overdrive was heavy, man. With you ain't seen nothing yet, or what was our other big one? Bachman Turner.
Dude, Let It Ride.
Let It Ride.
Got a bad company, right? Like,
or Grand Funk, or MC5. I mean, a lot of people could make the argument that maybe
Blood
MC5 was the original fucking metal band with Kick Out the Jams. They were pretty fucking heavy.
yeah.
That would be the only band I would sort of go, all right, I could maybe hear an acceptable argument to the Sabbath
And
one.
then it switched to punk, right?
Budgie was one, yeah.
Proto punk, and you had like the Stooges, right? And then
Stooges,
yeah.
Stooges were pretty fucking metal, though, man. I mean, they were right on that verge.
They were heavy. Yeah.
So, well, anyway, guys.
So
go ahead, Eric.
Oh, that's what I was. That might be my next video, is starting to do a series on heavy 70s stuff. So
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, Tyler, man,
But-
fucking Mountain, man, Mississippi Queen to this day, man.
Mountain's
Fucking
super
touch
awesome.
that, man, to this day.
dude, Mountain, beyond Mississippi Queen though, like their first 2 or 3 albums.
Oh yeah,
are
and then Tug
pretty,
Sleigh
pretty
Ride,
damn
is
good,
killer, man.
especially the first 2. Yeah, Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
Nazareth
Damn.
was pretty heavy back in the day. Nazareth,
Oh, yeah.
There the Dog, pretty fucking heavy. So there's a lot of good stuff.
There is.
And there's a lot of
That
stuff.
heavy again though. Like after that, the Nazareth stuff was never got that heavy again. Like
After Hair of the Dog,
yeah, I don't know, man. Like
I gotta be honest with you, they have like 40 albums out, and I never really stuck with them beyond those first 3 or 4. Yeah, that was tough because I was, like a lot of their stuff. Dan McCaffrey was a great singer, but
he's another one that passed away, man. Like that.
yeah, a while back. Yeah, there's that boogie barroom vibe that I'm just not a big fan of. Like, I love Uriah Heep, but and you could say they were kind of proto metal too. but I really only go up to like Abominog with them, and that album's not super duper heavy. But I mean, Take a Look at Yourself.
Oh yeah.
Magician's
Yeah.
Birthday, Demons and
Salisbury,
Wizards,
Demons and Wizards. Yeah.
Salisbury, Evie and Humble. Those are great fucking albums. Are they metal? I don't know if they're metal in the purest form, but they're fucking killer. But you know what always put me off on them would be the tracks like on Demons and Wizards, I believe is the one that Boogie Barroom song. It's like a barroom boogie song. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones I would skip.
All My Life
No,
or Easy Livin'.
no.
I don't know what you're. Yeah, I don't know. The only one I don't really like on that is Easy Livin'. Or no, sorry, not Easy Livin'. All My Life. Or there's the very first part of The Spell. It's like
Maybe it is
it's
All
kind
My
of like
Life. Maybe it is.
because
All
it
My
switches from it goes from Paradise, which ends like really epically, and then it goes into this like really boogie kind of thing. You're like, what the fuck?
It's like
But-
right
I'm
after
trying to
Rainbow.
remember
I'm good. After Rainbow Demon, I'm like, I'm good.
because
Dude,
Rainbow
That's-
Demon
that's a
rules.
great
Circle
song.
of Hands is great. Poet's Justice.
Dude.
I don't remember that song.
That's a great song too. Every song on that album rules except for
Maybe
like
I'm thinking of
little
Demons
thing
and
here and there.
Wizards. Maybe
There's
I'm thinking
a
of
couple on the Magician's Birthday.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I like Sweet Lorraine. I can't remember the name. Of
Yeah,
it. Is it
good
Spider
one.
Woman?
that's the one. I mean, that one's kind of boogie-ish. It's
Yeah, I
got
think that's
some
the one I'm thinking
some
of. The one
slide guitars and stuff on it.
yeah, I think that's the
it's
one that goes.
I don't know.
And I just
Yeah,
can't get into
she
that.
was a Spider Woman.
That's it. Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
good to me.
That's the one. That's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever they did the boogie woogie shit, I was not into it. But I mean, you go back to like Take a Look at Yourself, Shadows of what's it called?
Shadows of Grief.
Grief. Oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
that song is one of the greatest songs ever.
Well, they were a weird band, man. Even like on the Magician's Birthday, you have this huge dichotomy between that like boogie rock stuff and then this huge like epic proto metal stuff as well. It's kind of a weird thing, but a lot of those early 70s bands were just like the albums were very inconsistent, right?
Yes.
Like you had some really crazy heavy stuff and then you had some like stuff that sounded like it was from the early 60s kind of because that's where their inspirations were coming from a lot of the time too, so
True,
you
true,
can't
true.
really blame them.
Plus, they also
you'd have
but in the early days, they played a lot of bars, and they were having to get people.
right.
That they needed to get people on the dance floor to keep them around, to keep them drinking. So it was like,
Yeah.
let's do a boogie. So I mean, the very early Elf albums ain't that great with Dio. They're kind of
Yeah. Dio did a lot of that boogie stuff.
yeah, they're kind of that boogie woogie shit, and you're kind of like, ugh. I'm not a big boogie
I mean,
woogie fan.
Even some of the Rainbow stuff, like some of the even the 3 Rainbow albums with
Yeah.
Dio, I love those albums. But there's
usually
like
one
a song or
boogie
two on
track.
each one where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
None of them is none of them is a 5 out of 5 like proto metal masterpiece. But they're all
that's true.
great, of course.
That's true. Rainbow's pretty. Rainbow. Rising's pretty. Rising has that one song on it. What's it called? Sorry, I'm.
Don't close your eyes.
Yeah, hang on. Let me look.
Whatever.
Yeah, do you
Don't
close your eyes
when you're
Do
making
you
love?
close your
Yeah.
eyes? Yeah. That song's kind of lame.
Or do you close your eyes?
But I mean,
It's a short one though.
you got fucking.
Yeah, it's less than 3 minutes. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got Starstruck, Run with the Wolf, Terror Woman, Stargazer,
Yeah.
and Light in the Black. Those are
Like,
5
Yeah, I mean,
mega bangers right there, man.
yeah.
All right,
Hey.
guys. Well, look, I think I'm going to call it. I really appreciate you jumping on, and it wasn't a stream we were planning to do. But I think we can all say that, Ozzy got to go out with the kind of goodbye that he deserved.
Yeah.
I'm sure, regardless of how sick he was at the show or on the stage, that energy that he was getting from that crowd, from all the bands. I mean, you look on the side stage, man, there's like all these rock stars hanging out watching, all the rock stars that, were out in the watching from, out front. It's, I hated to do this because I'm not one to do these obligatory eulogy type things, but everybody was doing them when I was looking around earlier today and tonight. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not as big as most of these channels, but
I mean, he's the guy, right? When you talk
Yeah.
about, you know,
yeah,
I'm-
and I mean, and I mean, it's hard. Yeah, I agree, Human Falafel. Red's a fucking killer album, man. That's my favorite.
that's 74. Right?
Favorite Crimson. That's
Oh, yeah.
73. Well, oh, 4. You're right.
74.
Okay.
I gotta read
Man.
something, so.
Starless. Good Lord, that song is the greatest song ever, man. Holy fuck.
It might just be,
It might be the greatest song ever. Oh my God. Like, just thinking about that now, I got to put that on. But yeah, I think I think we're all happy for Ozzy that he got to go out the way that he deserved to go out. To have him just laying in a bed and wasting away the final 6 weeks, it is amazing that he seemed to power through knowing he had to make that gig. He had to make this last gig.
Yeah.
And
That was kind of was hinting at earlier. It's just, I think had this
Yeah.
show not happened, it would have been on a lighter note. But I think everything just kind of came together. And
yeah, I mean, could you imagine if he had died a month ago or 3 weeks ago, like right before
Yeah.
the thing?
that was completely
How it just would have been devastating.
it just
Like,
would have been just a straight tribute show or whatever or something.
well, then it would have been, yeah. But I think, to be honest with you, at this point, it was Ozzy saying, I love you guys. Thank you so much for giving me a wonderful life. Thanks for the energy to get through this thing. And yeah, man, it's sad. It's sad. But it's great.
We'll see you on the other side.
But it's great. Yeah, and so given that, there will be some upcoming announcements. I'm starting to use the what's it called, on the YouTube, the community page, to make announcements.
Oh yeah.
And I
You
apologize.
were doing that earlier. I'm like, dude, that's kind of useful.
I don't know why I never used it. I'm stupid. I didn't even remember about it, but I started doing it lately, and I'm going to post about
I forgot
stuff.
to do it last week for the Swallow Sun thing.
Well, give me one if you can. Yeah, if you can shrink it down, send it to me to do the.
That's what I hate about it, because your pictures to be square.
Yeah, the
with
cuts
rectangles.
a bunch off.
You
of it
can't
off.
just use the same thumbnail. Like what?
But yeah, thank you to Ozzy, man. We all owe you and Tony, the geezer, and
Buddy,
we owe you a huge chunk of our lives, our teenage years, or maybe even preteens for me.
Everybody he's worked with, and everybody he's given a shot at the business. People he's helped move and get exposure.
All the opening bands. I mean, Metallica opening for him when I saw him back on the Ultimate Sin. Ozzy was one of the. Yeah, like you said, man, he's bigger than life. Bigger than life. That's not something that happens. Like, if you went out tomorrow and talked to 50 people and said, hey, do you know who Neil Peart is? Maybe half might know. Maybe 30% might know who that is. Maybe. If you went out and said, hey, do you know who Ozzy is? Probably 90 out of 100 people would be like, oh, yeah, that's that. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne, of course.
They probably can't name 3 songs, but they know who he is.
Probably not.
yeah.
But that's, yeah, you're right. That's probably true. But I mean,
Well, the worst answer is he that guy that had that show back in the day? It's like, no, that's not the answer.
but that's not the answer you want to hear. But it would be. But that was part of what kept him floating, man. I mean, I got to be honest with you. After the first 4 albums, I would maybe struggle to come up with 3 songs on each album. I really would. I know on No More Tears, I would know No More Tears, and I would know
the later stuff.
What's that? Yeah, the later stuff, not on the first 4, but I mean,
I thought you meant the first 4 Sabbath albums.
oh no, I know, I could name at least.
Got scared there for a second.
I don't know
was
if I
like,
could
who the
name
fuck
every.
is this guy?
I don't know if I could name every track on every album, but I could name 75% of them, just simply because I haven't listened to them a while, so I probably wouldn't remember. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you 75% of off of every Motley Crue album. I know that, Glenn Diesel. But yeah, thank you, Ozzy, for everything, man. The love that we all feel for you is forever. And man, dude, go jam with Oz. Go jam with Randy. You're probably already jamming with Randy and Lee right now. And we don't want to see Geezer come, or not Geezer, Bob Daisley or Rudy come join you, or Phil Soussault come join you anytime soon, or Mike Inez too. There's a whole bunch of them, but let those guys hang for a little bit. But go make some sweet music with Randy. I know he.
You never know. Maybe Dio and Ozzy are singing duets now.
And Lemmy.
I would like to hear that.
Or Lemmy's just sitting there watching, drinking a Jack and Coke and smoking a Marlboro right down into the filter, So. All right, I want to thank Nick for jumping on earlier. I want to thank Rick for jumping on tonight. Remember this Saturday night, unless something mega bad happens, which honestly I can't rule out at the moment because I'm definitely not feeling good. Unless something big happens between now and Saturday night, Rick and I and Jake will be doing part 2 of Swallow the Sun. And Jimmy will not be joining us. I thought he might.
Watch the first one if you haven't yet.
Yeah, watch the first one. I'll give you a good a basis for that. And I will say that if you thought shit was Sad Boy on the first one, it might get even heavier on the second one. Not necessarily for me personally, but for the band and one of the band members, shit's about to get really, really sad. Really sad. And actually, Rick, look what came in today. I got to turn this off because I have pants on, but I don't have pants that are appropriate for viewing. So hang on a minute here. Hang on. I wouldn't want to offend anyone with my black undershorts on. But
for a minute, I thought he was going to say, here's my new Sabbath underwear. Like
oh, yeah, right. This came in. Hold on.
I wonder, what Tony Martin's thinking. Okay, Sabbath's last show. It's like, dude, let me just get my Sharpie right here and put a little asterisk next to it right here.
Yeah. You never know.
Last show, I'm kind of available.
Yeah. Good point.
It's just I don't know, man. They had a great roster of singers,
So this came in, Rick. Sorry.
Yeah. You got the Halatar.
Yeah, I did. So I'm stoked to hear that. And that's
I love the way that style of doom just scratches that.
Is Tommy Utzon on this?
Yeah, he's
I was gonna say that looks like him in the middle there. That's gonna be good then. And then this, which didn't show up, I thought it came to my post office on Saturday, but it did not come to my box and didn't come on Sunday or Monday either, but it did show up today.
Yep, morning. Yep.
Nice.
And I gotta say, it's a killer screen print.
Love that image, man.
And then the back is awesome too.
Oh shit.
The inside of the sun there. So I'll be wearing that, even though you're not supposed to do that. Jake already broke that.
Broke the band to the dive we're going to talk about.
Who broke the band? You don't wear the shirt to the band you're going to talk about rule. Or worse, you don't wear the shirt of the band that you're going to see, man. You don't do that.
Unless it's Kiss, and then they'll kick you out of the show.
Yeah.
If you wear anything else, right?
You go inside.
All right, well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody was in here tonight. We had 50 fucking people in here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it kind of speaks.
I think it was the Thralls guys.
What's that?
I think it was the Thralls fans.
Yeah, there was a lot of Thralls, dude. So hopefully some of those guys will join or did join. But that's cool that they joined in. And I really appreciate everybody being in here tonight and sharing stories in the chat.
The
Sharing,
darkest, rest in peace.
yeah, Ozzy, Sabbath.
Yeah.
You guys fucking rule. Hang on, guys, 1 second. Night, everybody. Let's see if I can get it to do it.
Yeah.
Is it going to do it? My warped little finger, I think, fucks things up. My broken
That thing
finger.
work well.
I'm trying to get it to give me the lights in the
On
back.
demand.
Huh?
I can never get that thing to work on demand.
It used to work. It did it a couple times. It's done the thumbs up thing. I've done
Yeah.
that a couple times. It did it earlier, but maybe it only does it once per stream here. But anyways, all right. See y'all. Good night. Hang on, guys.